Okay, there should be audio now. Has there been no audio this whole time? I just shouted everybody out. Or did it just, like, disconnect randomly? We had, like, 50 people watching. There might not have been audio the whole time. There should be audio now. This has been a train wreck of a stream. I apologize. I feel like... The sad part is I feel like I was prepared, and then when I found out there was no raw feed or live leaderboard that we can look at, that kind of goes away from the enhanced experience. They moved the start time up for potential rain later, which didn't help the stream either. We couldn't go through the starting lineup, and I didn't realize the audio was out, which that part's on my end. Good grief. Well, hit that like button. No audio before. I never saw anybody say no audio in the chat until now. I've been talking into a mic that hasn't received any audio for the last, like, 10 minutes. Oh, my goodness. I thought I did a pretty good call in the start of the race, too. A lot of thrilling racing going on so far. Between John Hunter Nemechek, Justin Allgaier, and then Chandler Smith, those opening handful of laps. Cole Custer in the mix as well. They are back from the commercial break right now. Currently your top 10 through lap 20 of 45 in stage 1. John Hunter Nemechek has about a 3/10 of a second lead over Justin Allgaier, who has closed that gap down a little bit from before the commercial break to after. Again, Allgaier at second, Cole Custer third, Chandler Smith fourth, Josh Berry fifth, Brandon Jones in sixth, Daniel Hemrick seventh, Austin Dillon eighth, Sam Mayer ninth, and Austin Hill rounds out the top 10. If you're just tuning in, because I've been talking for 10 minutes, but you guys have not been able to hear me, unfortunately, the raw feed is not working on NASCAR's website, so there is no way that we can get a leaderboard in. I'm on NBC's website, and everything that I would normally click on as a backup plan to get the leaderboard there, for whatever reason, it's not popping up. I click on Ambetter Health 200, and it's just asking me like to sign into my Peacock account to watch the race. So I don't know why, leaderboard isn't pulling up on their website either. So we're having some technical difficulties here, but I appreciate everybody that's bearing with me. We'll try to get that like counter up to 100, regardless of the fact that's our goal today. Battle for the race lead going on once again between John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier. This time it's the 7 fighting back at the 20 after the 20 kind of ran and hid for a little bit. Allgaier has ran him back down, maybe able to follow the 20 in his line, figure out where he was beating him, make the adjustments, and maybe it's a potential possibility that Nemechek burned through his tires trying to catch the 7 in the opening laps through this track that's going to go through quite a bit of changes over the course of the race today when it comes to tire fall off and tire wear, and Allgaier is capitalizing off of it. Definitely running a different line at both ends of the racetrack than Nemechek. He's starting the corner just as wide as the 20, but he's cutting down in the center, getting a better drive off by being in the clean air, running a half a lane to a full lane lower than the 20, but not all the way down on that white line by the exit of the corner either. This time he is on the white line with both left side tires below it through turns 1 and 2. Ducks to the back bumper of the 20 car again, just can't quite get underneath him. We have 21 laps to go at stage 1 this time by. Nemechek to the middle groove to start 3 and 4. The 7 wider on the entrance, but lower on the exit, and Nemechek is going to pull Allgaier just a little bit that last lap. Catching up to the back of the field now. We'll be seeing some lap traffic over the next handful of laps as well. Nemechek didn't move the 7 out of the way when he got to the lead the first time. We'll see if the 7's going to try to repay the favor, move him out of the way. A lot better exit to the corner. Lap car got in the way of Nemechek off of turn 2. Allgaier going to drive it in pretty hard this time into turn 3. Nemechek all the way down to the white line, going to slide up. Allgaier saw that. He get out of the throttle a little bit too early there. And Nemechek again holds on for the lead as he holds on for dear life in the early going of this race. A lot of great racing going on between the 7 and the 20 through these first 25 laps. Again to the inside goes Allgaier. And the last time they were side by side for 3 to 4 laps, Custer caught up. But then once they got the single file, they pulled away from the 0-0. We'll see if Custer can close in once again on the battle for the race lead and try to get into this himself. Aiden Rowland, Jeffrey Giordano, thanks for tuning into the stream. Northwest Arizona Terry, thanks for tuning in. I shouted out everybody while the mic wasn't working, I guess, earlier. So, sorry if you didn't hear your name called out. Maybe I'll go back through that during the stage break. Allgaier to the inside and Nemechek this time. not hanging on that left rear corner panel to side draft the 20 car, but a deep dive going into turns 3 and 4, a slide job of some sorts by the 7 of Allgaier. Crossover move to the bottom by the 20 of Nemechek off the exit of turn 4. Nemechek now to the inside of Allgaier. Allgaier leads that lap of the line, and the 20's going to try to retake the lead. Back down into turn 1 to 7. Grounds him on the entry of the corner. Big bobble by the 20 car as he got tight trying to hold that car to the inside of the racetrack. By the exit of turn 2, they're still door-to-door as they nearly made contact down the back straightaway. Allgaier and Nemechek going back and forth for the race lead. Custer's within 0.7 of a second off the lead now. Nemechek all over that left rear corner panel of Justin Allgaier. He moved him once. He almost moves him again. Allgaier may have touched the wall off turn 4 as he definitely got loose from the 20. Not sure if there was contact that time or maybe he was just arrow loose with how tightly the 20 was underneath that left rear corner panel of the 7. Here comes Cole Custer. Maybe saving his tires a little bit better than the 2 cars in front of him through these first 29 laps of the race, and lap traffic starting to pay dividends for these leaders as well. Very tough to stay door-to-door with each other as they continue to race. You guys can't even see. So there's an ad in front of my face too. Oh, the raw feed's up. Well, that's good. Oh. There we go. I didn't realize I did away with the camera. Well, there we go. We are having some major difficulties with this stream. I apologize for that. We do have the raw feed leaderboard. Now it should look good, okay? It was a struggle these first 28 laps with the stream, but I think we're okay now. Still an insane battle for the lead between Allgaier and Nemechek. Hopefully this next commercial break is a side-by-side one as they're side-by-side for the race lead again, as they have heavy lap traffic coming up on the leaders. About 3 lap cars right in front of the leaders this time. Contact again between Nemechek and Allgaier. Allgaier almost gets picked behind the 08 car, it looked like, off the exit of turn 2. That car being driven by Mason Massey this week. Allgaier trying to get to the inside of the 08 car. He's going to cut off the 20. Just had him clear, getting into the corner. Cole Custer's all over the back of Nemechek now as we have a 3-car battle for the Stage 1 win with 15 to go in this action-packed first stage at New Hampshire. Nemechek and Allgaier have been within a half a second of each other this entire 32 laps. Nemechek led about the first 9 or 10, and then Allgaier led after that. Chandler Smith did lead the first 2 laps of the race before Nemechek initially took the lead the first time, but what a battle it has been on the racetrack. Great racing going on here. Nemechek has made contact with Allgaier 2 or 3 times now. Pushing really hard, trying to get around him. Allgaier did pass the 20 cleanly when he did catch him the first time, so I'm sure Allgaier maybe not too pleased with Nemechek in that 20 car, who lost a little bit of ground that last lap through 3 and 4 due to the lap traffic, and Cole Custer is now all over the back of the 20. Nemechek was my pick to win this race today as well, which you guys wouldn't have heard because the mic was out the first 10 minutes, but John Hunter Nemechek was my pick for the race today. I picked him to win last week, got it done. Toyotas, specifically Joe Gibbs Racing, really good at New Hampshire, both the Xfinity and the Cup Series the last few years. So looking at Nemechek to try to win back-to-back today. Coming in as the points leader. He won as the points leader on the Super Speedway last week at Atlanta. 12 laps to go. Stage 1 will take a full field running order rundown as the battle for second heats up between Nemechek and Custer, which has allowed Allgaier to slightly pull away. Surprisingly largest lead for the 7 car, half a second right now over Nemechek in second. Cole Custer remains in third. Fourth place is Chandler Smith, and Josh Berry rounds out the top 5. Brandon Jones in 6th, Austin Dillon 7th, Daniel Hemrick 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, and Austin Hill is 10th. Riley Herbst in 11th, Parker Kligerman 12th, Sheldon Craig 13th, Parker Retzlaff 14th, Sammy Smith 15th, Brett Moffitt in 16th, Jeremy Clement 17th, Jeb Burton 18th, Joe Graff Jr. 19th, and Anthony Alfredo is 20th. 21st is Kaz Gralla, Alex LeBay 22nd, Josh Williams 23rd, Ryan Sieg 24th, Chris Hacker 25th, Kyle Sieg in 26th, Connor Mosak 27th, Blaine Perkins 28th, Raja Karut 29th, and Brendan Poole in 30th. First car lap down is the 31st place car of Ryan Ellis. Stephen Parsons in 32nd, Chad Fincham 33rd, 34th is Mason Massey, Patrick Emily 35th, 36th Kyle Weatherman, CJ McLaughlin 37th, and Greg Van Alst making his second consecutive start in the Xfinity Series today for Alpha Prime is in 38th and out of the race. It looked like a start and park situation there. Maybe not intentional, maybe had some mechanical issues, but he is 18 laps down after running just the first 17 laps of the event. 10 laps to go at stage 1. Again, 45 laps in the first 2 stages, 110 laps in the final stage, making up to 200 laps and 200 miles in today's Ambetter Held 200 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Allgaier pulled out to now an 0.8 of a second lead following this commercial break with 9 laps to go in stage 1. Close behind another lap car is Nemechek struggling to get by the number 6 of Brennan Poole for JD Motorsports. And they're definitely losing ground. Allgaier back to being the fastest car on racetrack again, as he was one of only 2 drivers that ran a lap time in the 31-second lap area. The only other one was Chandler Smith in 4th, who was 3.5 seconds off the lead and over 2 seconds behind the battle for second between Nemechek and Custer. It's going to be tough for him to get there in these closing 8 to 9 laps of the race. Michael Turner, Terry Lewis. I'll just go through everybody who has been in today's stream that I may or may not have shouted out already towards the end of stage 1 here. Michael Turner, Terry Lewis, Dale Campbell, Isaiah Z, Chris Davis, Joanne C, Aiden Rowland, Jeffrey Giordano, Billy Kramer, Northwest Arizona, Patty Rumdy Creations, God Rides a Harley, Earl Arnold Jr., I might have shouted out already, I think. Jim Troy, Robert Perkle, also, all you guys welcome into the stream. All you guys and gals, welcome in. It's been a train wreck here as far as the stream goes. The race itself, though, has been really, really good in these first 40 to 45 laps. Caution-free, a lot of battling for the lead going on between Nemechek and Allgaier specifically. Now, Cole Custer's in the mix. Chandler Smith led the first couple laps from the pole, and we've already had a few lead changes in today's race, despite it being a relatively difficult racetrack to pass on. We have seen a lot of great racing with an older surface at New Hampshire over the last probably 4 or 5 seasons, and we're seeing some more great racing here already to start this weekend's event. Truck Series off this weekend. They'll be back at Pocono next week. Just an Xfinity and Cup Series doubleheader this weekend for the live commentary slate. Our Cup race tomorrow will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our pre-race show. Weather pending, of course. If they do end up postponing the race to Monday before we are supposed to start a stream at 2, then there will be no live commentary stream tomorrow, and we will just do the live commentary stream with its pre-race going a half hour for the drop of the green flag on Monday afternoon. So stay posted for that in the community tab, so definitely hit that bell notification if you haven't already. If you are subscribed to the channel, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. We're on the road to 5,000 subs. We are just over 500 subscribers away from that goal. Hopefully we can get there in the next month or 2. And as far as the stream goes, hit the like button as well. I know it wasn't a particularly great start. The raw feed not working, my mic not working the first 10 minutes. No live leaderboard there. So hopefully we can get this thing in going forward. We're under caution for the first time. A spin off of turn 2, it appears. Chris Hacker, the 38 car, going for a slide. No major damage on that race car. 4 laps to go in stage 1, time of the caution. Allgaier had a 1.3 second lead and was looking to win the stage. He will still do so, as we will finish the stage under caution. So pit road will be closed. They will open it up once Allgaier gets that green, white checkered flag. And the running order right now is the stage 1 results as well here in the next couple laps. So Justin Allgaier will win stage 1, John Henry Nemechek 2nd, Cole Custer 3rd, Chandler Smith 4th, Josh Berry 5th, Brandon Jones 6th, Austin Dillon 7th, Sam Mayer 8th, Daniel Hemrick 9th, and Austin Hill will round out the top 10 in this first stage. And this will be the 5th stage win of the season for race leader Justin Allgaier.
Go on board. I think he just loses grip on corner. Hold the brake. Not the first, not the last here at New Hampshire.
Hold the brake. And this will end the stage, so it will end under caution. That means Allgaier is going to get his 5th stage win of 2023.
Sounds like they're going to a commercial break here under the yellow. Again, just finishing stage 1 under caution. Our first yellow of the day, the 38 car of Chris Hacker going for a spin. Free pass car will be Blaine Perkins in 27th with this caution flag coming out. So he'll get back on the lead lap. Allgaier has led the most laps to this point with 24 laps led and counting. Nemechek with 18, and then the first lap of the race was led by the 16 of Chandler Smith. 23 minutes, 51 seconds in to get this first stage in the books. Pacing to get this race done in less than 2 hours today. Of course, Xfinity Series race is typically shorter. Even for the Cup Series race, one of the shorter lengths of the year, with it only being 300 miles on an oval. But should be some good racing, I think, for the Cup race as well, because this race has been pretty good, honestly, to say the least so far. Pretty good is an understatement. It's been a great race thus far through these first 45 laps. Joanne C. picked John Hunter as well. Yeah, I just... The Toyotas have been really tough to beat at New Hampshire the last few years, Xfinity and Cup. I think tomorrow, Bell and Truex are going to be the two favorites. More on that with the pre-race. If you join the Patreon as well, there will be pre-race predictions up before 11 a.m. tomorrow morning for my picks for best picks for top 10 for win and all that. And I'll go over some of that, of course, in our pre-race tomorrow, as we usually do for the Cup Series races on the race weekend. We go live about a half hour to 45 minutes for the drop of the green, give some last-minute predictions, but for more additional betting advice, you can go on the Patreon account and subscribe there for a monthly subscription to see more in detail on my picks on the race weekends. Let's see here. Yeah, it was a three-way battle for the lead, for sure. Great one at that. Custer doesn't look quite as quick as the 20 and the 7. I honestly thought the way Nemechek had caught and passed Allgaier in the early going. Now, he did have to move him to pass him, and then Allgaier got back to him, passed him cleanly. The 20 tried to move him a couple other times, racing back. So I would probably say in the early going, Allgaier's got probably the better car. Maybe it's a possibility that Nemechek had blown through his tires early in the run to catch the 7, because he did have to pass the 16. He fell to third off the initial start, so he had to pass one extra car to get to the 7. And it looks like we got Raja Caruth potentially blowing an engine under caution as well. A lot of white smoke pouring out of the back of that race car. Looks like there's some oil on the back bumper cam as well, so some problems there, which may add on to the length of the yellow. But Allgaier has gotten the green, white, checkered flag, and we'll see if pit road will be open this time. I think it was going to be, but they might have to put some speedy dry down following the 44 car blowing up under caution. So some sort of a mechanical issue there for Caruth, making one of his few Xfinity starts of the season for Alpha Prime Racing. Both Alpha Prime cars now out of the race, with Greg Van Alst and then the 44 here under caution nonetheless of Raja Caruth. So maybe there was an engine failure for Van Alst as well. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Driver trying to get some laps, get as much experience as he can.
That's tough.
Race is only 45 laps in, and just going to give up a great deal of opportunity.
Hold on, come off there. The Wiggins line broke.
Oh, the Wiggins line broke.
So the Wiggins is basically like a clamp style fitting. So you have oil lines. Some have like a hex, like you would imagine you tighten it like a bolt or a nut. But some it's called a Wiggins, and what it is it goes there and it's like a C-clamp. It kind of goes around and clamps to itself. It's a style of fitting. And it's interesting they said broke.
Pit road is open this time.
Under, whether it's broke or just not completely installed. I've seen both.
All right, field on its way down pit road, and pit stop's about to take place. We'll start with Marty.
Rick, you want to sum up New Hampshire in one statement from a driver: too free on entry, too tight in the center, too free on exit. That's what Cole Custer had to say. And then he said, help my entry first. Justin Allgaier said, the tighter the center gets, the worse my exit is. They're going to make an air pressure change and also an adjustment for Justin Allgaier, and a bit of a slow stop there for the 7 days.
If John Hunter Nemechek could get into the corner more aggressively, he could be better, because he's having to wait before he turns the car. They're going to make an adjustment for that. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. There is a race off pit road, Rick.
So 2 tires only for Justin Allgaier, but he was deep in the box. They actually had to back him up a little bit, and then they could change the right side. So it was kind of an unscheduled plan to take 2 tires only. I think they wanted to make sure Allgaier kept his track position. So we'll see how he'll handle on the restart. He was second out of the pits off of pit road. But, yeah, definitely a tough break there, and maybe an unscheduled call to go for right sides only, but they had to shorten the pit stop length up, or he was going to lose a lot of position. So it might have actually ended up being a good call for that limited set of tires, too. So I guess he's going to have an extra set of well, he's going to have 2 extra tires, I guess, if he has that possibility to put those on later in the race, depending on how cautions fly the rest of the way. Justin Martell, thanks for tuning in. He's pulling for Junior Motorsports all the way. I'll put a poll in the chat for who you think will win today's race, as we usually have on the channel. Because I didn't have it up at the start of the race, I will keep this poll up until we get to 50 laps to go. But who will win today's Xfinity and I will just put the 3 fastest in stage 1, so we'll go Justin Allgaier at the top, and then John Hunter Nemechek, and Cole Custer. Custer has a pretty good track record here. So does SHR. Almirola won in the Cup Series here recently. Custer's got an Xfinity win at New Hampshire. He also won his first career truck race at New Hampshire when he was 16. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but did that in the 00 back in the day as well in the truck series. So a lot of good picks for this racetrack. Kind of coming into the race, you could have expected they were going to be the 3 favorites. Josh Berry, who's been running top 5 through the first stage of this race. Also, of course, a very good short track racer. Especially the flat track here today. He probably could have been written in as one of the favorites as well. So Cole Custer loses a handful of spots on pit road, and Allgaier, with only being able to take right sides only, took him a little bit to recognize he was too deep in the box, that they had to back him up. Definitely issues there, and that was on the driver. That was not on the pit crew. That's something you can afford to make. You almost wonder, being that first car onto pit road following the issue from the 44, if maybe there was some oil on his tires which caused him to slide deeper in the box.
Spotted. B, can I keep up in only 2 tires? Or is it worth going back to extra 10 or 15 spots we're going to lose? Clear communication and an A+ job by the pit crew. If they take those right side tires off, that's service. That's service outside the pit box. That's a big penalty. So great work from the 7 all around. But in the end, just a mistake by a veteran, 20-time race winner, Justin Allgaier.
Let's bring in the Peacock pit box with DJ and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And we're hearing that the 7 is going to get a penalty for pitting outside the box. So something must
might
have
as well
been
throw
done.
the left side on there.
Fuel was added when they were still up. But let's bring him in. Overconfident, maybe the 7 of Justin Allgaier winning that first stage?
Well, I think they ought to be confident as good as they're running, Rick, but that's a tough situation for them. Now they have to come from the back of the field in stage 2, and that pulls them out of that battle that we saw between 3 drivers who I believe may be battling for the title at the end of the season. But let's talk about the cut line and what the drivers did in the first stage to help or hurt their chances to the playoffs.
Yeah, so let's remember that there's 12 drivers that make the playoffs in this Xfinity series, and those are Sheldon Creed, Riley Hurt, and Parker Kligerman, who sits in that 13th. Well, those 3 drivers finished 11th, 12th, and 13th after that first stage, so nothing was done there. Nobody gained any points there, so you can see what this real battle is going to be for these next 9 races for those drivers.
Yeah, Rick, and at a track where track position matters, mistakes on pit road for any of those drivers, like the 7 had, will take them out of a great result today.
Yeah, what looked like a dominant performance for Justin Allgaier now is in a situation where he's going to have to fight his way from the back to the front.
All right, so let's go back to the 7 again. I didn't see any service taking place, but you cannot do anything. No fuel, no lug nuts. Now let the jack man jack the car up, but look at the rear. So the rear guy, this is very hard, but as we freeze it right here, the guy in the back, you see the front, right here. He hasn't taken any lug nuts off. He's not even servicing the car because he can see the line. Well, the rear tire changer, it's really up to him to know how far he has run around the car, like we're too long in the box. He hits the wheel, takes the lug nut off. It's only 1 lug nut, but this is a rule that was adjusted a few years ago. You could do nothing to your car outside the box, defined by service. The jack, they don't penalize. But if you take a lug nut off or if you put fuel in, Marty, that's a penalty.
Yeah, initially Jim Pullman was very upset when they made the call, but he talked to a NASCAR official and did confirm via our video they touched that 1 lug nut on that right side. So he said, hey, if we're going to be at the back, obviously, Steve, this is an easy call to make, right? You come in, you put the left side tires on the car, and there's him arguing the call and the official explaining exactly what happened.
So, look, it's always easy to say in hindsight, but what will be reviewed this week to that rear changer is when you come off the wall, if you take 2, 3, 4 steps to your left, you need to kind of look for that signal that we're too long. But, you know, so many times if you're 6 inches to the good, Jeff, then you're telling that tire changer, why'd you wait? We need to get this stop going. So, in the end, it comes down to the driver putting his car on the sign where it needs to be in the box.
And Steve, just I want to clarify, because we saw this out of, I believe it was Chase Elliott's crew maybe a year or two ago. If he would have put the lug nut on before he came back into that pit box, so he would have made the correction of doing work and put it back on, and then they back up, would there still have been a penalty?
I think if they could have proven they put the one lug nut back on, that would be hard to do. And you think in that confusion at this point, once you take a lug nut off, really this kind of started because cars would leave with a lug nut missing, stop, and have one tightened outside the box. So NASCAR cleaned it up, and I understand it's frustrating, but I agree with the call. There was service with car outside the box.
Penalty for the 7. After winning stage 1, they'll have to restart stage 2 in the back.
Just less than 150 laps to go. We're on a lengthy cleanup here for stage 2. Remember, we had the caution, which led to the stage end, and then after about 3 to 4 laps under caution, the 44 car, Rajah Caruth, ended up blowing a motor, having some oil spilling out from underneath that race car as well. So he is currently getting work on with his car. Not sure if they pulled it to the garage or not, but definitely having to put some speedy dry down on the racetrack at turns 3 and 4, as well as pit road. So we are under caution for the first time today. Again, that spin from the 38th Chris Hacker led to the end of stage 1. Allgaier won the first stage, too deep in the box, and then by the time they ended up backing it up, it was too late. They had already made service to the right rear of the race car. Lug nuts have been taken off, which is why Allgaier had gotten a penalty for his crew pitting outside the box. But as Steve Letarte mentioned, it was, it's not really on the crew members there. They're told when the jack is up to, essentially go to work on the race car. So you can't really blame the right rear tire changer on that. They gotta go right away as soon as they hop over the wall. And Allgaier just, pitting too deep in the box definitely was the culprit of why that penalty had taken place. If he wasn't deep in the box, they wouldn't have had the penalty, and they would probably still be in first or second. Chandler Smith did have a really fast stop to win the race off pit road regardless, even with the 2-tire stop by Allgaier. So granted, it was a lengthy 2-tire stop by the 7 because of having to back up in the box before they completely changed the right sides and topped off on fuel there. So regardless of the fact, though, great stop by the 16. He also beat the 20 car off of pit road as well, so 2 spots gained for Chandler. And he will be the leader on the restart, just as he was at the start of the race. Nemechek got the lead from him after a couple laps, and it was Allgaier who led about the final 20 laps or so for stage 1, and now it's the 20 there. And as that is taking place, we'll look at the point standings coming into this race. We'll just highlight the drivers running for the regular season championship first, and then later on during stage 2, we will highlight the playoff drivers. As far as the Xfinity Series drivers battling for that Xfinity Series regular season title, John Hunter Nemechek came into the day with a 16-point lead over Austin Hill after winning last week at Atlanta. Both Hill and Nemechek have 3 wins on the season now. Both have won an Atlanta race, actually, as well. But a very tight battle. They've been close to each other all season long in points. Cole Custer, 45 points out, not out of it completely. Same with Allgaier, who's 4th in points, 54 back. Those two have really heated up over these early summer months from late May, with Allgaier winning at Charlotte, Custer getting 2 wins in the last calendar year, in the last month as well. That's huge for that 00 team that have moved him up exponentially in the standings. And they have the 4 most top 10 finishes on the year, the 4 most top 5 finishers on the year. They've easily been the championship 4 favorites to this point. And we will see later on into this regular season how this will shape up. There are 26 races in the regular season for the Xfinity Series, same with the Cup side. They've had a couple extra off weeks, so we still have 9 races left of the Xfinity Series season. In its entirety, the Xfinity Series has 3 less races than the Cup, so they are going to have more off weeks during the year. So we will actually get to the Cup playoffs before the Xfinity playoffs. I believe Bristol's the regular season finale for the Xfinity Series season. But after today's race, we'll have 8 more races to go in that battle. And that's where you're looking at it right now. Drivers who are locked into the playoffs with wins this season would include Nemechek, Hill, Custer, and Allgaier. Allgaier with 1, Custer with 2, 3 apiece for Hill and Nemechek, most on the season for the Xfinity Series. 1 win apiece for Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, and Jeb Burton as well. And currently 5 drivers can point their way in. And again, more on those bubble drivers when we get to the Stage 2 break. Jonas, thanks for tuning in to the stream as well. Seth Thomas, thanks for tuning in. The race is on the USA Network today. Both the Xfinity race today and the Cup race tomorrow will be on the USA Network. We will get a restart in here at lap 55. Field has already gotten the 1-to-go signal. Chandler Smith has elected the outside lane, which worked for him the last time to clear the 20. Nemechek will be on the inside of row 1 this time around. And we will see who will lead coming to the restart.
This track is going to tighten up. That's where history would say tighter you get in the middle, the worse your drive off gets, everything goes bad.
This is going to be a sprint right here. There's only 37 laps in this stage, so buckle up, we're going to roll.
Through the Geico restart zone, Chandler Smith leads them to the green flag to start stage 2. Just past the quarter-way mark in the race, Nemechek did not take off well in that bottom lane. The 16 will pull low to block the 20 into turn 1. Slides a little bit too far wide in the center of the corner, though, and Nemechek back underneath the 16 off the exit of turn 2. A lot of side-by-side racing 2x2 through the field still, and most of the top 10 still door-to-door down the back straightaway into turn 3. Chandler Smith on that outside lane. The 20 of Nemechek all the way with his left side tires below the white line on the apron in the center of turns 3 and 4. Really the first half of that corner. Custer going 3 wide to the inside off the exit of turn 4 underneath the JRM Chevrolets of Brandon Jones and Josh Berry. Custer, after losing about 4 spots on pit road, trying to get back up there. He was third at the end of stage 1. Austin Hill battling Chandler Smith for second now. More 3 wide racing with a couple of the colleague cars. Daniel Hemrick and I believe the 10 of Austin Dillon driving that 10 car this weekend once again. Contact with Sam Mayer. He got into Dillon a little bit, getting into turn 3. Cleared the 10 car, slides way up the racetrack in front of him as Mayer tries to hold on for that 9th place position. Parker Kligerman to the inside of the 10 after he got washed up a little bit wider than he wanted to after the contact from Mayer underneath him. And now Kligerman looking to get inside the top 10 for the first time today as well. Austin Hill's been side-by-side for second for about a lap and a half with Chandler Smith. Still can't complete the pass. 2 Chevys battling for position. In fact, 7 Chevys inside the top 10. And of the top 15, only 3 are not Chevrolets. That would be Nemechek in the lead, Custer in 5th, and Herbston 7th right now. Of course, a lot more Chevys in the field than Toyotas and Fords for the Xfinity and Truck Series, especially the Xfinity Series. So hence the reason why there are so many Chevys up at the front of the field right now. You would usually see that most weeks out of the Xfinity Series season for that matter as well. Chandler Smith holding on strong, though, still to second place after a 2-lap battle with the 21 underneath him. It looks like he'll finally clear Austin. Austin going to have to try a re-attack. It's very difficult to make the pass on the bottom of the racetrack. If you can get to the outside of the car, that'd be perfect, but these guys not really giving up the top. By giving up the bottom lane, a car can pull underneath them. It's very difficult for them to actually get that pass completed without a mistake by the car on the outside. With that being said, Josh Berry just lost a spot on the bottom to Cole Custer, but that was after Berry got really loose off turn 4. You can definitely tell he was out of the gas off the exit of the corner, which allowed the 00 to practically clear him before getting into turn 1, and the 00 slid back into that outside lane, taking the spot away from Berry. So easy pass for Custer there after working on Berry for a couple laps, making the mistake. Riley Herbst also trying to pass a JRM Chevrolet, a Brandon Jones in front of him. They battle for 6th. Hill back to the inside of Chandler Smith for second again into turn 1. His second attempt at trying to make a pass for second place. He needs to make it quick as Custer quickly is closing in, trying to get into that battle for second as well, as Nemechek has pulled ahead to about a 7/10 of a second lead at the start-finish line, this time by lap 60 of 200 and lap 15 of 45 at stage 2. Following the restart to begin stage 2, again, John Hunter Nemechek, your race leader. Chandler Smith is second. He is 7/10 of a second off the lead. Austin Hill's 9/10 of a second back in third. Cole Custer in 4th place is 1.1 seconds off the lead, and Josh Berry in 5th is 1.3 seconds off the lead. So still very tightly compacted from this restart at the front of the field. We are about 7 to 8 laps into the restart to this point, as Austin Hill is still not going to be able to make a pass on Chandler Smith. Lost a little bit of ground in turns 1 and 2 on top of not being able to make the pass. And Cole Custer now looking to the inside off of turn 4 underneath the 21 of Hill. He'll look to the inside into turn 1. Hill going to have to give him the room. He doesn't give him a lot, though. Crowds him a little bit getting in. Through the center of the corner, both cars widen out. They'll meet each other again by the exit. Custer still to the inside of Hill. Had all 4 tires down on the apron that time as he circuited his way off of turn 2. And has to follow back in line behind him as Hill got to the inside of the racetrack in 3 and 4 quick enough. Custer still going to the apron, going even lower than what Austin Hill was running, trying to get a little bit of clean air on the nose and desperately trying to make a pass before the 2 cars in front of Hill pull away too far for Custer to be able to catch. But the more Custer works at the 21, the more he's going to burn his tires off, and he's going to have less and less of a chance to catch the 20 or the 16. Justin Allgaier, after restarting at the rear of the field following that pit road penalty, is up to 21st. Because it was a penalty, he would have had to restart the tail end of the longest line, even behind the lap cars as well. So even though he was 27th and has only gained 6 spots in the first 10 laps since the restart, he has probably passed about a dozen cars since then up to this point right now as he battles Anthony Alfredo for 20th place. Custer to the outside of Austin Hill after Hill tried a crossover attempt on the 0-0 after Custer cleared him off turn 4. Custer with a much better drive off turn 2, and because that outside was open up, Josh Berry now looking to make a pass on the 21 car. I mentioned if you can get to the outside of a car, that was going to be your best chance to make a pass, and that is going to be the case here for Josh Berry as he gets the throttle down off of turn 4. Hill is going to have to slide up in line behind him, so he loses 2 positions that lap after trying an aggressive move to cross over Custer and ended up biting him in the rear, as he ended up losing an extra position instead. Struggles for Sammy Smith right now, back in the 17th place position, despite the fact his teammate is leading the race in the early going. 3 wide off turn 2. One car gets squeezed up near the wall. A lot of contact being made, and this is just in front of Sammy Smith. It looks like Parker Retzlaff and Jeremy Clements running up next to each other. Clements might have skipped the wall again with that wide entry into turn 3. And we are under caution for the second time here today. 66 car of Chad Fincham has stalled on pit road. And that is the cause for the caution. It looked like he tried to get back to the garage area or his pit box was close, but he's parked in the middle of the pit lane. And they may be coming to retrieve that race car from the pit lane. So again, that is the reason for the caution. Chad Fincham is stalled out on pit road. Right in the middle of the pit lane. I wonder if he was coming out of his pit box and then stalled out, or if he was on his way in. Whatever the case is, not going to be able to get there. Pit road will be open this time, and it'll be interesting if this may split the strategy up a little bit as we're midway through stage 2.
Stop for gas one time. You don't want to stop in Raleigh if you still can't make it to New York on that tank of gas, right? You have to get farther enough away from where you started and close enough to your destination that your one stop for gas is going to get you all the way there. That's where these teams are at. Where Sammy Smith is right here, and the whole field is they know if they put in fuel now, they only have to come one more time. Now, the reason I say these guys, because they're already in the back. I don't think I would pit if I'm the leader. But the cars without track position, this is that opportunity to maybe kind of jump those other guys, get a little lucky with the correct time yellow.
I've been told Winchester, Virginia is actually the stopping
Winchester?
point. When you go from Charlotte to New York, you stop in Winchester,
Okay.
Virginia for fuel.
It's great barbecue in Raleigh, though. Don't stop. It's food.
See, I'd be frustrated because Jeff would make me stop at the barbecue. We'd still have to stop again in Winchester. I'm not riding with you two.
We have road trips quite a few times.
Yeah, well, you got to find a good place to eat, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... Look, we saw this a week ago in the Cup race at Atlanta, right? We saw as they were racing for the weather, people kept trying to top off their fuel to try to be the first car on the most amount of fuel. I mean, Michael McDowell played it as perfect as possible.
Right.
So, Taylor Moyer right there.
And so, waiting to see if teams make their way onto pit road. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store. You can download for free and start using that app today. It's Raja Karuth in the Circle.com car, and he is stopped on pit road right now.
Yeah, remember he had that oil line off earlier. They came in to make repairs. You just get a little worried that, could you hurt the motor? So I don't expect to see Nemechek or Chandler Smith, any of the leaders. They're probably committed to their strategy of staying. The real question is, will somebody else gamble, right? Will the 7, will the 18, or do they think they're fast enough to just recover? They may think that's not worth the risk because they have a good enough car. So you see the 18, he's staying on the racetrack, and so is the 7. So they think they can just kind of beat these other guys' heads up. I'm a kind of a gambler, though, Rick.
You would have gambled?
Absolutely.
Okay. You got to shake things up. When you come to New Hampshire, there's a lot of things you can do while you're here. Hiking, camping, sports, different things. And obviously, you want to take in the race when you come to New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
All right, so under commercial here during the middle portion of Stage 2 as we're under caution for the 66 of Chad Fincham stalling out on pit road. We've got 41 likes on the stream so far. We had our technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream, so again, I apologize for that. We didn't have any audio for about the first 10 laps, and we didn't have a leaderboard until about lap 28-ish. That part was not my fault, that the raw feed wasn't working at the drop of the green flag, but it was my fault that the audio wasn't working, so I do apologize for that. But needless to say, we are still in the early going of this race in the grand scheme of things. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll have live coverage for tomorrow's Cup Series race at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is inclement weather scheduled for New Hampshire throughout tomorrow afternoon, so the chances of getting the race in, considering there are no lights at the racetrack, is not going to be very high. I think sundown's about 8:30 local time at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, just before that, in fact. So it's going to be very, very difficult to get that race in. With that being said, if they do postpone the race to Monday before 2 o'clock when we're scheduled to have our start time for the live stream, then we will not have a live commentary stream tomorrow. But if they have not stated anything on the weather update at the racetrack before 2, as far as postponing the race to the next day, then we will still go live at 2 with our pre-race coverage. If we get any interviews from drivers, you guys will get to listen to that, and we'll just kind of have an extra live commentary stream this weekend. So that'll be kind of the update on that. And I will keep you posted in the community tab on the channel as to if they do postpone the race to Monday. You guys will know and be aware of that before 2 o'clock tomorrow. If they don't say anything, then I'm not going to post anything in the community tab, and we'll just go live at 2 as according to plan. The fans sitting on the back straightaway. I mean, not a bad seat. If you get like general admission, you just walk over to the back stretch and watch the race. Why not? Cheap way to watch it. Big hill in the back. That's people in lawn chairs out there. They're probably a lot comfier than the bleacher seats in the grandstands, assuming they have bleachers at New Hampshire. I've never been there before. I'd like to go one of these years. I'd like to get to all NASCAR tracks, but I haven't been up to the New England area before. All right, green flag back in the air, lap 70. Little bit of jogging for position. We've got a huge parking lot crash in the second half of the pack. Couple of playoff contenders are involved. Justin Allgaier's in it as well. Heavy damage to the back of the 7, who had a penalty at the end of stage 1. Parker Kligerman has bashed the front of his race car in. Ryan Sieg also involved. A big wreck in the restart zone. Jeremy Clements is in it. My, oh my, oh my.
Yeah, that one's a foot shorter.
That was ugly.
Why is it here, Jeff? This place is known for it.
Well, Indy also. Remember Indy, the oval? Like anytime there's a long straight and narrow, it's hard to see. You cannot see through the car in front of you. So everybody's going straight. The guys in the back cannot see what's happening in the front, and off it goes. Let's start with Parker Kligerman right here. See, the car on his outside is laying back quite a bit, and they just don't go. And everybody's anticipating
Custer
a launch.
Didn't go, and the whole outside wadded up.
And now the leaders, they can wait all the way until the end of the blue zone. So you see, they just wait all the way to the finish.
John Hunter did nothing wrong right there. He launched, it appears to me, he launched just before the line. We'll watch it again. But everybody was, this wreck started before the leaders ever launched. And it was just the anticipation of when is that front row going to go. And you have to guess. It's a bit of a guess, but clearly guess wrong. Now, here's the first line they're coming to. Okay, so Steve said that you got to launch in between this line and this next one. So watch the outside car. There he goes. He had started rolling before he got to the line, it appears to me, but they're all stacked up.
Okay, so let's remember where this all started from. The restart zone was put in place because when we went to double file restarts, the leader needs to have an advantage. He's already lost the advantage of now somebody's starting next to me. So you get to decide when to fire in this zone of time. Everyone behind is thinking, I'm going to leave a little gap, I'm going to roll up and time this perfect and pull out a line. And when the leader waits, everybody stacks up. And I agree with your assessment, Jeff. I believe the leader did nothing wrong. Let's listen in.
The whole field stacking. Come on, green. Direction behind you. Yellow.
So you even heard it right there.
Ready. Stack it big. Do not go.
That's great work by the spotter. You know, that's basically, you heard Sammy Smith trying to, roll into it.
So here we go, the outside car. See, it appears to me he's going before he gets to the line. Now, it wasn't much before the line, but everybody behind thought we should be going. Why are we going? And just were anticipating it and just guessed wrong.
And now look, if the leader doesn't go before the line, it's still not a penalty on the leader. That just means the other guy in the front row can go. Yeah. Right? So, not that you would want to do this, Jeff, but John Hunter, in theory, cannot go. He can just wait as long as he wants.
Correct.
So watch right here on the speeds, Jeff. Right, so Nemechek's 38 miles an hour, very consistent. You see him slowly accelerate as they kind of all creep up, but it'll be a big jump when he gets on the gas. He's still in the zone. Boom. I mean, it jumps past 50 miles an hour, still in the zone. He's on the gas.
Yeah, so what would happen if he didn't go? The flagman starts a race at that point. So as soon as they get to the second line, the flagman drops the green, and now anybody can roll on that front row. So I don't see any rules broken there, but a lot of cars, poor Ryan Sieg. I mean, this is the backup car. That was a road course car, actually. That was the backup from a wreck yesterday. He lost brakes. Parker Kligerman, he came in a tight battle trying to make the playoffs, Dave, and now he's in trouble.
He was below the cut line, just 6 points behind Riley Herbst. Guess who missed that wreck? Riley Herbst. So Parker Kligerman came on the radio. He came on the radio and told his crew it went to zero. That was the oil pressure, so they said, bring it back to the garage. We are done. Marty?
Boy, Dave, massive playoff implications in this wreck, not only at the cut line, which is now on the left-hand side of your screen. Look at that swing for Riley Herbst, plus 43, holy smokes. And then also at the top, remember Justin Allgaier is trying to win the regular season championship as well. And Steve, here's the problem when you get damage at a short track like New Hampshire. Jim Pullman doesn't have much time to work on this car when they come down pit road, because the field catches up so quickly. You can only make your changes in really 30 to 40 second increments.
Yeah, you get small changes, but just remember, this all started with a mistake. A mistake put the 7 in the back. He had won the first stage. This is why when we talk about, they're simple mistakes. We're all human. We all make them. But this is the compounding effect. And look at the list of cars involved.
Yeah, 12 cars involved. You see Justin Allgaier involved. When he came in, Parker Kligerman was only 6 points behind Riley Herbst. Now 43 points separate the two, because Parker Kligerman out for the remainder of this race after the big accident here.
What causes a curve down there? Is it Peyronie's disease?
Tough break there in a situation on a restart where the outside lane ended up stacking up. And as a result, causing a big wreck in the middle of the pack as they were going through the restart zone. So that is the reason for the third caution of the race, right as we were going green following the second yellow. Jonathan Nemechek kind of waiting to the end of that restart zone to go, trying to time it out a little bit later to beat Chandler Smith. And drivers do that when they're in the lead and battling on the front row with the same drivers they've been on the front row with. Remember, the 20 to 16 have been on the front row for every restart today, so they have kind of gotten used to each other's tendencies, and Nemechek was probably trying to throw him off by going later in the box, and there were a lot of drivers behind him that were expecting him to go, and he didn't, and that's what caused the stack up, and it was really to no fault other than the fact that, as Jeff Burton mentioned in the broadcast booth, that they just mistimed it. They were expecting him to go, they didn't go, and no fault really to anybody there. It was just an unprecedented really circumstance by the back of the field. Just trusting the people in front of you, really, at that point when you can't see out of line. Because you can't lane change until you get to the start-finish line as well. So you're kind of committed if cars are stacking up in front of you, like not to pull out of the way unless the spotter says they're wrecking, then, maybe you'll try to pull out and move. But you can't pull out and actually try to make positional gains until you get to the start-finish line, even if you were to time a restart out better than the car or two in front of you on a typical oval. So the free passes under these last couple of cautions, which I didn't state during the 66 stalling on pit road yellow, the 4 car of, let's see who's driving the 4 this weekend. Kyle Weatherman in the 4. He got the free pass. He's now in 21st. And then with this lap 70 caution, I believe Brennan Poole in the 6 will get the free pass, unless he was involved in the incident. If the free pass car is involved in the accident, then no free pass is awarded. So it might not have been Poole. It might have actually been somebody else who was lapped down that was involved, and I think that is why there's no free pass given here during this lap 70 caution, especially with that taking place in the back half of the field.
Tune in on Peacock for that street race in Toronto for the IndyCar. And we just saw a stack up on the restart here, and want to bring in Peacock Pit Box, Dale Jr., Dale Jarrett. All right, guys, how difficult is it to get back in the swing of things when you saw what stack up we just saw on that restart?
Well, I think it's a good reminder when you're a driver and you actually get through something like that. You're not one of the ones damaged. It's a good reminder to be paying attention on the restarts and not try to get too aggressive. With everything we see, nothing was done wrong by the control car of Nemechek. He waited till the very end of the restart box, but he did nothing wrong. He didn't slow down. He didn't bottleneck the field. It's all of the drivers behind him trying to get a roll and anticipate the restart, all 4 or 5 rows trying to do that all at the same time. And you know when you're buried at row 5, 6, 7, you're going with the cars around you. They start going, you're going, right? No one knows the leader has yet to start. And so, like Jeff Burton pointed out, it happens on these racetracks with the long straightaways. The oval at Indy got me one time. The straightaway at Homestead got me one time. That was actually Jeff that turned me there. So, I mean, we've all been in this situation before, and you're mad. You want to point the blame on somebody, but you can't.
Yeah, you want to, but you understand, all we talk about every week are you got to get what you can on these restarts, and these drivers know that launch is what helps them to do that they can get down here in turn 1 and make it 3 wide somewhere and try to get a couple of spots. So you understand what they're going through, but then you're so mad at yourself for making a mistake like that cost you. And Justin Allgaier can go back, and not to pile on Justin, but you know, when you make a mistake, as they were talking about, that's what piles on then, and it just costs you even more after that.
Yeah, it's going to shake up the point situation as well around the bubble with the 48 car Parker having some trouble.
The whole front seam of the hood.
I really think the 2 drivers, Dale and Dale down there, broke it down really, really well. But it kind of even starts on the front row. So if we take another look with speed, and I'm not going to blame Chandler Smith because I think every race car driver would attempt. So the 16 is trying to time his restart with the 20, trying to stay up close. So you see, they're kind of the same speed, but as we get around to the end of the restart zone, before the 20 accelerates, watch that 16 speed. He actually accelerates first. So if you stop it like right here, you see he's at 52 miles an hour, and Nemechek hasn't gone yet. So he kind of rolls up, and then he checks up. So if we roll through that at full speed one time and just watch that 16 car, it makes it look like Nemechek slows down. That's not the case. Nemechek is actually a consistent speed per the rules. It's the 16, your reference car, that accelerates and slows, which makes it look like the leader's brake checking. And once again, I'm not blaming Chandler Smith.
Let me know if any warnings or anything like that are given out.
You know, he did just what I want my race car driver to do, right? I mean, I need you to time the restart. It's just part of the challenge. Kim.
And Austin Dillon, too loose on exit was the call. Needs a little help there. They are going to work on the nose of that. He got a little bit of damage, and they are going to change, as you see, tires there, but working on the damage. And then Sheldon Creed, they are just playing a completely different ball game strategy-wise. They needed to do what they had to win. They felt like this was it, Dave.
And Kim, it's kind of the same way for Brandon Jones. We've already talked about the fact that he's so far behind the cut line right now. They've got to go for the win. They're going to try to set up for it this way with 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
I love this call. Tires down, maybe gas only, or don't even come in at the end of the stage. Got to get off sequence. Brandon Jones, Jason Burdett, they're racing like they need a win in their points position. I agree with them.
Kim.
Parker Kligerman out of the race after that big stack up. What happened, and how is this going to affect your hunt for a playoff spot?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the restarts were pretty smooth before that, and then on that one, they all went, and I gave a little space to 11, which I'd done a couple of earlier restarts because guys were spinning tires, whatever. And then suddenly he stopped. I'm on the brake, and I don't know, got slammed from behind straight into him, and then our hood was destroyed. So I guess I'm looking at the replay here. Yes, I don't know. Just not fun. Anyway, I guess I didn't stop, but we got the worst brunt of it, just wrong place in the accordion. Really unfortunate. We had a really fast Spike Light Coors Chevy. Thanks to Scott Borchetta, Sandy Borchetta for the opportunity. And I just think this was one of the better short tracks we had all year. We're such positive momentum, only 6 points out. I felt like today was going to be an easy top 10, maybe top 5 day. Just having ripped from us like that's really disappointing. But we're not down, we're not out. We'll keep going. We got a lot of great tracks ahead of us we can go win at.
I love it. Positive attitude from Parker Kligerman, who takes a nosedive, unfortunately, in the standings after that incident.
You heard Parker. He wasn't real sure what happened.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in these situations. And then it all goes back again to not being able to see. Parker had no idea what was going on in front of him. They started checking up. He couldn't respond. It's just, we see it all the time on these types of racetracks. And also, we played a radio clip from Chandler Smith. And he said, let me know if there are any warnings put out. And what he's saying is he thinks in his brain, Nemechek didn't go when he was supposed to.
Right.
He's not thinking he's going to get a warning. He's thinking Nemechek is going to get a warning. And so you talked about Chandler went a little bit early, and he did, but he only gained like a couple mile an hour. It wasn't like he launched 50,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
He gained a little bit, tried to get a little forward momentum going. He recognized the 20 wasn't going, so he checked up, and he's like, we're so deep in the box, the 20 should have gone. So he's expecting that Nemechek's going to get a warning, not him.
And Rick, we have to remind the fans, right? I love the job of analyzing what we're seeing. We're like frame by frame.
Right.
Super slow motion, right? These drivers are doing this at real speed in one time. They don't get to see it and go, oh, I'm going to do it different. Now they get another chance at it here. But this is like looking at a great football catch frame by frame, right? It's almost unfair to the athlete.
It's funny. Steve's like, he gained 2 miles an hour. Like, you don't know you gained 2 miles an hour.
Exactly. The fact that he was gaining speed. I mean, yeah.
Chandler Smith, he can't expect that anything would be said to John Hunter Nemechek, right? Because ultimately, John Hunter Nemechek, when he gets to that last line in the zone, the flag man starts to race.
I know, but again, Steve just said it. We're up here. It's air conditioned. We're not going to win or wreck, or we're not going to blow a motor today. We're going to talk about it. Those guys are in the middle of it, and that is their life. That's their emotion, and you think differently when it's in that. You got a chance to win a race, right? And you're like, that guy didn't do something right, and that's how it works. And that's why when you hear a driver be interviewed after a wreck, don't always believe what they say. They might think it's true, but they don't really know all the time.
Listen, the worst job I think here is the officials on pit road. Because if I was Bruce Slicker, the crew chief of the 16, I would find an official right now. And I mean, you absolutely need to tell the 20, he can't do that. He can't do this. I would be politicking, trying to, not that it would sway anybody, but I'd feel a lot better if I'm standing up for my driver.
We're going to try it again. Coming up to the restart zone for John Hunter Nemechek.
All right, well, take two. Restart. Late in stage 2, 9 laps to go now. Most of the stage ran under caution, 2 lengthy yellows. Green flag back in the air, no stack up this time through the restart zone, and John Hunter Nemechek is clear of the 16 on the bottom lane into turns 1 and 2. Down on the apron is Riley Herbst as he tries to pull underneath Chandler Smith, who falls back in line in third after Josh Berry moves his way up to P2. Herbst underneath his teammate Custer for fourth. Chandler Smith going to hang on to that third place position for right now. Sam Mayer going to battle Austin Hill just outside the top 5 in a battle for 6. Makes contact with the left rear corner panel of Hill's race car. A little bit of damage on the back of the one from that stack up. I think he was the car that Parker Kligerman ran into the back of. Don't know how that may upset the handling of the one car, but for right now, remaining in the top 10, keeping that car on the track, trying to get some stage points, with the stage coming to an end very shortly. Quickly a 7/10 of a second lead for John Hunter Nemechek, so Allgaier involved in that incident after having the penalty, which put him towards the back of the pack. He's still on the lead lap, scored in 21st, but a lot of damage. Austin Hill into the back of the one car now in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Both cars in the outside lane. Austin Dillon looking to get by both of them. He gets by the 21 of Hill. Rather, that is actually Jeb Burton in the 27, not Austin Dillon. Jeb Burton in the 27 car going to get by Austin Hill for 7th. Great run for Jeb in the early going for Jordan Anderson Racing. Haven't seen him run this well in a non-super speedway so far this season, but he has stayed out of trouble and working himself forward. Josh Berry very wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4. The right side tires are above the darker black area of the racetrack on the inside of really the first half to first 2/3 of the corner, so Berry way up out of the groove, maybe a little bit too far wide that time, just trying to find a different line to see what he could do to catch Nemechek. Car in the wall, 24, Connor Mosak, and we are under caution for the 4th time today. A lot of contact with the right side of the race car against the outside wall, whatever the case was there. Pretty heavy impact. He is still running on the back straightaway. But that right rear corner panel definitely caved in. They'll have to bring that car back to pit road and pull the fenders out, maybe change those right side tires as well. 6 laps to go in stage 2 at the time of the caution. Not sure if this is going to lead into the stage end or not. So it turned into a caution-free great racing first stage. It's turned into a caution-filled second stage. And it looked like he just slipped up, got a little loose. Car came out from underneath the Mosack, backed it into the outside wall, and brought out the yellow. Maybe he didn't have to have the caution flag on that one, although they probably threw the yellow thinking he was probably going to bounce off the wall and not straighten it back out, but the way he hit the wall, he kind of straightened the car. He was up out of the groove, but not sure if they're going to get a restart in or not before the end of the second stage. If we do, pit road would probably be open this time by, which could shake the stage 2 running order up quite a bit. And pit road is open, so it looks like we will try to get a restart in late in the stage.
They're going to give up the chance to win the race if they don't come now. Other cars stayed on the racetrack. Sam Mayer had to be really close to the orange box. Kim.
Including Josh Berry, who was running second. Josh saying it was a little bit of that run. He just needs help rotating more through the center. The exit similar, just more of the same from the last stop. So air pressure drops on those 4 French Goodyears, Dave.
Leader John Hunter Nemechek said, I'm just a touch on the other side of the balance at fire off, but on the long run, I need more of what you were giving me. The 16 of Chandler Smith says I just need a little air out of the left rear. That means the car was a little bit tight. This will free him up.
Battle off of pit road.
Looks like Jonathan Nemechek wins the race out of the pits by just a couple of inches over Josh Berry. Top 3 positions did not change. Hill, Hemrick up a couple spots. Mayer, Burton, Jeb Burton, that is, down a couple of positions. As far as some of the drivers outside the top 5, but just in the back half of the top 10 there were some drivers that stayed out of the pits there to try to receive more stage points. I think a couple of JRM Chevrolets of Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones may have stayed out of the pits. Potentially Sheldon Creed. A lot of the playoff bubble drivers pretty much staying out that want to guarantee themselves some extra points, especially with Parker Kligerman taking out that last caution. As far as the drivers who were on the bubble coming into the race today, that we didn't mention during stage 1, Josh Berry plus 84 points, a little under a race and a half, but looking good, running really good today, top 5 all day so far. P2 out of the pits there. Sam Mayer, pretty solid day so far in the top 10, has a little damage to the back of his race car, but may have a chance to win this stage if he did stay out. Same goes for Sheldon Creed, who is plus 26, Mayer plus 46 in the standings. Daniel Hemrick is plus 41. He's got him ordered by playoff points again on here. So Hemrick actually just ahead of, oh geez, that ain't right either. Good heavens. Where are we at here? Hemrick plus 41, Mayer plus 46, mentioned that already. Plus 84 for Berry, plus 26 for Creed. And then Riley Herbst was the last driver above the cutoff line on Parker Kligerman coming into the day. He was only plus 6. And then after the Kligerman incident, I think it was plus 43 as they ran. But still, of course, stage points to be awarded here in stage 2. Race points can vary depending on where Herbst finishes today. But we know Kligerman is out. Jeb Burton in with a win. So even though Kligerman's 12th in points and was ahead of Burton coming into the day, remember Jeb had that win at Talladega this season, so he is locked in. Brett Moffitt minus 53 points, and Brandon Jones minus 81 points coming into this race today with 9 races left. I wouldn't say he's in a must-win situation because of how many races we still have left until the Xfinity Series playoffs begin, but it's going to be very, very tough for him to point his way in his first season in that 9 car. We will have a late-stage restart, 2 laps to go. Parker Retzlaff, Sammy Smith will be on the front row, and we will see who will win this second stage here today. Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer in row 2 behind him. Big wheel spin by Retzlaff on the outside of row 1. A lot of blocking going on the bottom of the racetrack as they fan 3 wide just outside the top 10. Sammy Smith trying to take control of Retzlaff in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Still door to door. So Retzlaff almost gets squeezed into the wall by Smith. A couple of young rookies, 18-year-olds, going at it at the front of the field. Sammy Smith now pulls clear in the middle of turns 3 and 4, trying to pick up where his teammate has left off. Sammy trying to pick up on a playoff point, I'm sure, is the reason why they stayed out. They're already locked in with a win into the playoffs. A lot of the drivers that did stay out of the pits, that is not the case. Allgaier stayed out of the pits as well to get some stage points to try to minimize the blow in the regular season standings because he is fighting for the regular season title yet. Easily a half a second ahead of Retzlaff as Smith into turns 3 and 4. Creed to the inside of Retzlaff for second place in that final corner. Off the exit of the corner, they'll still be door to door. Retzlaff wins the race back to the gas and will stay in second. Sammy Smith wins stage 2 at New Hampshire. Parker Retzlaff P2, P3, Sheldon Creed, Brandon Jones 4, Josh Williams rounds out the top 5 in this second stage rather. Justin Allgaier 6, Joe Graff Jr. 7, John Hunter Nemechek 8th, who will be the leader on the next restart. Austin Hill in 9th, and Chandler Smith 10th. So those are all the drivers that will receive stage points here in stage 2, except for Austin Dillon, because of course he's not running for points in the Xfinity Series. He's a full-time Cup regular. And the only driver, I believe, to run both races this weekend at New Hampshire for the Cup and the Xfinity Series races. Wade Solinsky, thanks for tuning in to the stream. Philip Moore, Easy E Network, Frank Powers, welcome. Appreciate everybody tuning in right now. About halfway through the race, and we're just under halfway to our goal of 100 likes, so definitely hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Our goal is 100 for today's stream. We've hit that quite a few times for the Xfinity and the truck races recently, so let's try to keep that streak going. We didn't get to 200 on the Cup race last weekend, unfortunately, but the race did end short. We were like 30 likes short. We still had like 70 laps left when they called the race, so I think we could have gotten there, but we are going to run this full Xfinity Series race, so definitely be sure to hit that like button again if you haven't already, and also subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NASCAR content. Sherry Hicks, thanks for tuning in also. We have not taken an ad break yet today, and we are in stage 2, so we're going to make sure to do that right here, right now. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in, listening live on KRC, the Ambetter Health 200 at New Hampshire. And also, once again, you can vote for who you think will win today's race. We'll close the poll with 50 laps to go in the race. We started just after the race began, so we'll leave it open until 50 to go. We are about 60 laps away from that. Currently, you guys think that somebody other than Nemechek, Custer, and Allgaier will win today's race, 33%. Which is actually pretty tight with Nemechek and Allgaier not that far behind. Nemechek only 6% behind other. Will be the leader following this restart, and then Allgaier has a lot of damage, so I think his numbers have gone down a little bit with people maybe switching their picks, as you can do. Kyle Sharp, thanks for tuning in as well. Watching this before you go to work this afternoon. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Huzo Feach, thanks for tuning in also. Get that spot? No sponsorship yet. No sponsorship. I haven't reached out. I don't know how that works exactly. I don't know if I have to reach out to companies. I would imagine I probably have to do. But haven't done that to this point. I don't know why that was finally coming up. Plugged my phone in a long time ago, but all right, cars that did not pit before the end of Stage 2 will be pitting now as pit roads open.
46, so he has to come for some fuel versus Sammy Smith. He was able to stay out. Dave.
And Steve, it's been a good weekend for Parker Retzlaff. He qualified 13th, and when I talked to him and Jordan Anderson, his car owner, before the race, they felt pretty confident about what they could get done here this afternoon. That's only the 4th time this year that Parker has earned stage points in a race, so things continuing to look the right direction for this crew.
I like it. Oh, little tire rolling up there in the front. Hopefully somebody sees that before he goes to leave. There you go. Good job picking it up. Now we're going to get kind of set for that final little over 100 laps, Rick. It's going to be exciting.
Just got to make sure everybody gets through the restarts. Sammy Smith.
So it looks like Sammy Smith staying out on the racetrack. He'll continue to lead this race. Very few drivers came in that time, as we were expecting more drivers to pit. So Smith again won Stage 2. Picked up another playoff point on the season. Coming into the day, Sammy actually didn't win a stage, so this is his first career stage win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And the first stage win of 2023 for Smith. But he does stay out on the racetrack. So does Sheldon Creed, Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier, Joe Graff Jr. So Nemechek will actually be 6th on the restart. Top 5 all on older tires. They did not pit during that last caution. They did pit, I believe, during the second yellow. We really only had a couple green flag laps that we have ran so far today in between when the 18, 2, 9, 7, and 19 pitted versus when the 20 on back hit pit road. So they're probably going to have about 10 lap older tires or so. We'll see how they hang on. Allgaier, of course, with quite a bit of damage. And that worked out for him to get some stage points as well as track position. Everybody will have to pit one more time to the end of this race. Those top 5 on this upcoming restart will have to pit before everybody else, depending on how cautions may play out the rest of the way. Obviously, if they get to within the fuel window and a caution comes out, then they'll all be pitting at the same time, so they don't have to pit again the rest of the race. But if we do have a long green flag run to begin this final stage, then they will have to pit first, which is not something you would want to do on a short racetrack. Definitely lose a lot of time there, but we'll see how it works out for him. And with short pitting, taking on fresher tires, might be able to get some of that track position back depending on how much they lose here. So this will be a very interesting restart and a very interesting race to the finish based off of the 2 different strategies we're seeing here. I don't see a lot of this kind of strategy racing on ovals anymore with the way the stages are laid out, but the cautions kind of lent hand perfectly with this final stage to be able to showcase exactly what may be done here leading up to the green flag. Sammy's been right around 17th most of this race. It is a close poll, isn't it? Or are you asking me to close the poll? No, we're leaving it open. I know it's stage 2, but we'll leave it open a little bit longer. I didn't have it up right at the start of the race today. $75 laps short of the finish of the Cup. Oh, you're talking about Atlanta. Yeah, well, I knew it was right around there. I couldn't remember the exact lap counter. Close enough. Hy-Vee, I have no clue what that is. Is that like a hotel chain? If it's not like a hotel chain, I have no clue what that stands for. Sounds like it could be a hotel chain. '31 Formula 8 RCR car before Jordan Anderson Racing. It might be. I don't know, because the Xfinity series, I don't remember there ever being a 31 for RCR. They've always had the 21 car in the Xfinity series. But then in the Cub side, it's always been the Wood brothers, so I don't know. I don't think they've had the 31 in the Xfinity series, although with them both being Chevys, they could be linked with one another. Of course, Jordan Anderson having the 3 truck in the truck series, there might be an alliance there that maybe he could have gotten the rights to that number, the number 31 as well. Green flag back in the air. And it'll be the 18 of Sammy Smith leading the field into turns 1 and 2. Sheldon Creed underneath him. 3 wide back around Nemechek as he tries to get by the 19 and the 7 at the same time in turns 1 and 2. And he is going to be able to do that. Squeezes Nemechek up the race. Or Nemechek, I should say, squeezes his teammate up the track almost into the 7 there. Nemechek is clear. It was a clean pass. Aggressive to say the least, though. Speaking of aggressive, Chandler Smith's going to get underneath his teammate of Austin Hill with another 3-wide maneuver. Josh Berry to the outside of both the Kaulig cars. Nemechek takes over 3rd from Brandon Jones. And he's got Sheldon Creed and then his teammate Sammy Smith in front of him to get back to the race lead. Starting to catch up in the Xfinity series predicting winners. Couple at 6. Nemechek wins. There'll be 2 in a row for me and for Nemechek. And I think that would put me at 5 Xfinity winners on the season. I don't bet on the Xfinity series, though, because it's too unpredictable. Even though I felt kind of confident with my pick coming into the race today, I still don't do that. I think Nemechek was like 10-1 odds to win Atlanta last week, too. Should have been good. But, again, it's just like, it's just too unpredictable for me. I don't feel as confident with those picks as I do with the Cup Series every week, even though I still try to pick strategically. Joe Graf still putting a fight to Justin Allgaier, who's been on his outside, and they've been side by side ever since the restart, because Nemechek passed them both at the same time when he did get by him for fourth. Nemechek has already risen up to second place in the running orders. He passes Sheldon Creed now through turns 1 and 2. We're officially halfway. 100 laps down, 100 laps still to go. Contact on the backstretch now between the 19 and the 7. Josh Berry closing in on that battle for fourth, nowhere to go. And that might allow Chandler Smith to get underneath the Berry again. Joe Graf Jr. clear off turn 4 and Allgaier, who's got to be struggling, I would imagine. Oh, big wreck off of turn 4. Herbst gets turned, it looked like, off the front bumper of Austin Dillon after he may have crunched Dillon into the wall. Another playoff bubble driver involved, and remember, this is not something Herbst needed. He needed to stay clean to the rest of this race, because with Kligerman out, he was plus 43. He was in the top 10, and he may have kind of turned himself into the wall there off of Dillon's car. We'll see a replay, but we are under caution. Quite a bit of damage to Herbst's car as well as the 10 of Austin Dillon. And this is our 6th caution of the race. 35 car of Patrick Emmerly will get the free pass in 28th. And then the Stage 2 conclusion caution put Mason Massey back on the lead lap with the free pass as well. A lot of damage to the right front of Herbst's race car as well. And all of a sudden the bubbles drop to 11, and this is really a blessing for Kligerman's playoff standings here. And yeah, that was definitely on Herbst. I don't know if the spotter called him clear or what the case was there, but he pulled up trying to clear the 10 of Austin Dillon, and he was not clear of him and just turned himself into the wall, really. Obviously quite a bit of damage on the 10 of Dillon as well. Everybody else was able to escape to the inside as Herbst went spinning down the front straightaway. He just cleared up too early. That's all that was. I did not catch the SRX race Thursday. Kel, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that comment as well. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in also. Missed multiple birdie chances Wednesday night, all that stuff. That's always tough. Whether it's during a good round or a bad round. Yeah, a lot of damage on Herbst's car. It's a grocery store. Yeah, I was wrong on that. Not a hotel chain. It sounds familiar, but at the same time, like, I couldn't pinpoint what it was. It was definitely a shot in the dark. So problems here with Riley Herbst. Still outside the fuel window to make it to the end of the race. So I don't think we're going to see anybody hit pit road. Unless maybe they're expecting even more cautions and they try to pit now so they get more track position later. And it doesn't look like anybody in the top 10 will be on their way in this time, except for, of course, Austin Dillon, who had quite a bit of damage after Herbst squeezed him into the wall. Big mistake there for Riley. Doesn't really look like there's as much damage on the 10 as what I expected. And what most people probably would have expected following him getting crunched there, but definitely quite a bit on the 98 of Herbst. Right front tire was down as well as he was trying to go all the way back around the track to pit road. Good wreck avoidances there by a lot of other drivers further back in the pack. So as we're under caution, we will go through the full field running order real quick. Sammy Smith is your race leader. John Hunter Nemechek is second. Sheldon Creed is third. Brandon Jones fourth. Joe Graf Jr. in fifth. Justin Allgaier at sixth. Josh Berry 7th. Chandler Smith 8th. Cole Custer 9th. And Austin Hill is 10th. Daniel Hemrick in 11th. Jeb Burton 12th. Sam Mayer 13th. Brett Moffitt 14th. Kaz Grella 15th. Kyle Segan 16th. Alex LeBay 17th. Parker Retzlaff 18th. Josh Williams 19th. And Kyle Weatherman is 20th. Mason Massey in 21st. Ryan Ellis 22nd. Blaine Perkins 23rd. Jeremy Clements 24th. Connor Mosack 25th. Patrick Emmerling 36th. Austin Dillon now 27th. He is the last car in the lead lap. Brendan Poole's 2 laps down at 28th. Riley Herbst is now 2 laps down at 29th. I would imagine he'll be able to continue, but definitely not on the lead lap. CJ McLaughlin, 30th. Chris Hacker, 31st. Parker Kligerman, first car out of the race. 32nd place finish for him today. Ryan Sieg, 33rd. Anthony Alfredo, 34th. 35th. Chad Fincham. Stephen Parsons, 36th. Raja Crew, 37th. And Greg Van Alst rounds out our field today. Tough break that Greg Van Alst got to finish last in his first 2 Xfinity Series races in his NASCAR career. Why does that keep popping up? My phone's plugged in. It keeps wanting me to screencast this. No. I don't want to get copyrighted. I'm just going to unplug it at this point. Oh, my goodness. At least it's just showing the thumbnails right now. I'm just making sure it's not going to screencast the NASCAR race. That's weird that it was doing that many times. It was plugged in for a while before it started to pop up. How many laps? Well, it's a 200 lap race, but we are down to about 94 laps to go right now. Bill, I'm not sure why you're deleting his messages, but... Oops. Hopefully the audio's still working, is it? Yeah, audio's still working. Well, that's good. Alright, well, we're going to take a quick ad break here while we're waiting on the restart. Cleanup still going on the front stretch. Actually, they have gotten the one-to-go signal. They will be going green this time by. And we will have about 93 laps to go, officially. Poole and Herbst, by the way, 1 lap down, not 2 laps down. But they will be battling for that free pass, so it'll be interesting if we do get another quick caution, if Herbst can get around the 6, depending on how much damage he has. I would imagine he'll still have speed to pass the 6. It was banged up, but if Allgaier, with as much damage as he has, is still up inside the top 10 right now, Herbst didn't have quite that much damage, I would imagine, as long as nothing's broken in the suspension of that race car, especially on that right front, which is vital on this flat racetrack, then should be okay. JGR, Toyota's on the front row, green flag back in the air. Great launch on the inside by Nemechek versus Smith. Now remember that Nemechek has slightly fresher tires than Sammy. Sammy did not take off well, and Nemechek will have the lead through turns 1 and 2. A lot of leanage going on in the middle of turns 1 and 2 that time. Bottlenecking as well on the back straightaway after contact with Chandler Smith and Justin Allgaier. Joe Graff Jr. getting a little bit of a boot. Couple of the colleague cars now, it's Smith and Hemrick making contact in the middle of 3 and 4 as they're still 3 wide, a few rows deep. As we get up to speed off of turn 4, first lap following the restart. Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed door-to-door for 3rd. Jones on the inside, Creed on the top lane right now. Cole Custer trying to make up ground, who looked very quick at the beginning of this race, but a couple of slow pit stops have kind of put him back in traffic a little further. That 00 team not performing well on pit road. And he is trying to get back up into the top 5 where he has ran on speed for most of this race. Allgaier still trying not to lose too many positions with all the damage to his race car. Big side draft going on right now between those colleague cars of Daniel Hemrick and Chandler Smith. Hemrick into the back of the 16. He moves him up the racetrack, and they're 4 wide in the middle of turns 1 and 2 as Sam Mayer tries to crowd them both. Brett Moffitt in the mix. Austin Hill's there. Maybe some tempers going on between Chandler Smith and Daniel Hemrick. I don't know what that was. Hemrick chased the 16 down the track on the front stretch, and then he tried to move him up the hill. Chandler Smith holds on to his position, but then Hemrick ended up costing himself like 5 positions trying to pull that maneuver off. Sam Mayer to the inside of the 21 now, just outside the top 10 is where all that battling's going on. Front of the field, Sammy Smith staying close to his teammate John Hunter Nemechek. Haven't seen Sammy with this track position today until he stayed out late in stage 2 to win that second stage, and even on slightly older tires, he's keeping up with his teammate. And he is all over the back of John Hunter Nemechek, very reminiscent of Stage 1 when Nemechek went out past Allgaier for the lead. And then Allgaier just kind of hung around for a long time, battling Nemechek for the majority of that ending to Stage 1. It is a madhouse in the middle of the pack. Now the Jordan Anderson racing cars make contact with each other. Jeb Burton and Parker Retzlaff in the middle of the corner. They're 3 wide. Hemrick on the outside of that. Nobody can get out of each other's way from about 11th through 17th in the running order. Brett Moffitt trying to work himself to the front of this group. Jeb Burton back underneath Retzlaff. Burton was in the top 10 towards the end of stage 2 at speed. He also has lost some track position with the restarts and on pit road. He's running as high as 7th earlier in this race. Nemechek got a gap Sammy Smith at the front of the field by about a car length or so off of turn 2. Lap 113.
That Toyota has been dominant here as we take a look at the Toyota driver update. Nemechek and Sammy Smith running 1 and 2. Joe Graff Jr. in 5th. Castralla 13. Connor Mozak 18th. Kim.
And for Sammy Smith, they keep reminding him on the radio, you have to be patient. Do not use up your stuff. Another thing to note, I talked to the team, and they told me that Sammy really leans on John Hunter to learn racetracks. This is Sammy's first time at New Hampshire, so possibly putting him in the catbird seat, having used his teammate to gain knowledge of this track, with his teammate the one that he is looking to pass.
Well, we talked about how some teams use New Hampshire to gauge themselves for Phoenix. Sammy Smith won earlier this year at Phoenix.
Yep.
And so here he is sitting here running second, trying to chase down John Hunter Nemechek.
So, Jeff, my question to you is, as a driver who is so successful here, as we see the 00 of Cole Custer in that white car pass the 7 of Allgaier and a very beat-up and bruised Branch Chevrolet there, what is John Hunter doing? I agree with the Sammy Smith, don't burn your car up, kind of chasing that rabbit, but is John Hunter, is he able to kind of look through the mirror and gap himself back and, I don't want to say not drive off to a big lead, but actually save a little tire, just keeping Smith far enough behind?
Well, I think John Hunter today, with all the years of experience he has, is not punishing his car, but he's trying to make lap time, right? If your car drives good, and then you're not hurting tires, because it drives well, you're not asking a lot out of your car, and it can make lap time. I think John Hunter 5 years ago wouldn't have cared. He just would have driven as fast as he could and not worried about it, but he's matured, he's an experienced driver, and he's not going to get further out on Sammy Smith than he needs to.
We want to make sure that you hear from the drivers that are out of the race that maybe went to the infield care center. One of those was Ryan Sieg, as he was involved in that lap 71 restart incident. And this was just after he came out of the infield care center with Kim Kuhn.
And Ryan Sieg out of the race. I know on the radio you were really frustrated. You did everything you could during that pileup. Walk us through what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, no, I know the stack-ups always that happen here, and I was prepped for it, and I was like, I laid back, and then I was on the brakes, and then you know what I mean, everybody behind me just never checked up, but it's all product of the 20. Not going on the restart, playing games with probably one of the fastest cars here at the track, and just playing stupid games and wreck a bunch, you know what I mean, a couple cars out of doing just stupidness on the restart.
Strong words and frustration from Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, well, I don't agree.
Justifiable anger, but maybe not a justifiable statement there for why that wreck had costed. Sieg doesn't have really anybody to blame, I don't think, for that incident. It was just a bad product of what happened in front of him, but I don't think John Hunter Nemechek was in any fault there. If anything, it might have been Chandler Smith if he were to blame somebody, but definitely not John Hunter Nemechek. Speaking of Smith, he's going to make a pass on Justin Allgaier, it looks like, for 8th place. Allgaier starting to fade now. Remember, he's got some damage after being involved in that stack-up parking lot incident on the front stretch when they went through that restart zone late in stage 2. But he is still trying to get a top 10 finish out of it. Just doesn't seem to have the speed he once did, which was potential race-winning speed as he battled Nemechek. And now that Nemechek's closest competitors, both him and Custer, haven't been anywhere near him, it has been the John Hunter Nemechek show for the majority of this race since that late incident. Really, ever since the Stage 1 pit stops where Allgaier had that penalty, which sent him at the back of the field, and then being involved in that incident shortly thereafter.
Top 5. Yeah, but Steve, it's worked so far for Joe Graff Jr. Stevie Reeves, the spotter, kind of coaching him through his lines. Jason Ratcliffe helped with a little strategy as well, trying to hold off Josh Berry right here. But you're right, when you have limited opportunities in a good car like this, you have to take advantage. And Joe Graff Jr. only has 2 more opportunities in the 19 this year. So he knew he wanted New Hampshire. That's what we talked about earlier, showing so far running really well for the 6th spot.
Yeah, and Marty started off the day by saying that this is a pivotal race for Joe Graf Jr. running in this great equipment, only 6 opportunities, and he's taking advantage of this one. John Hunter Nemechek out front.
Taking a NASCAR nonstop commercial break here with just under 80 laps to go. Still outside the field window to be able to make it to the end of this race. We're working closer to the edge of that window, so if we were to get a caution, we'd probably see pit stops during that said yellow flag, but for right now, still under green flag conditions. Your top 10 rundown, currently it was 78 to go. Again, John Hunter Nemechek, the race leader, and the one to beat late. Sammy Smith is in second, 9/10 of a second off the lead. Sheldon Creed is in third, 2.3 seconds back. Brandon Jones is 2.9 seconds off the lead in fourth, and Joe Graf Jr., as you just heard, in fifth place is 4.8 seconds behind race leader John Hunter Nemechek. All three, Joe Gibbs Toyota's in the top 5. Josh Berry's in sixth. He is 5.1 seconds behind the race leader. Cole Custer is 5.7 seconds back at 7th. Chandler Smith in 8th place is 6.1 seconds off the lead. Justin Allgaier in 9th is 7.3 seconds off the lead. And Austin Hill in 10th place is 7.8 seconds back. So, again, that is your top 10 with 77 laps to go in this final stage. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We are 40 likes away from our goal today with just less than 80 to go, so definitely got to get on that, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't done so yet, and then subscribe, of course, for more daily NASCAR content as well. NASCAR Vintage 17, Patrick Shadley, thanks for tuning in here recently as well. And we will get on with our second to last, Hopeful, thanks for tuning in also. Get on with that second to last ad break of the race, and then you guys will get to listen in to some of the USA Network broadcast here during the next stretch in between probably what is their second to last commercial break now and then their final one after that. You can also vote in the chat for who you think will win today's race. That poll will close with 50 laps to go. Other leading at 34%. Surprised Nemechek's not leading that poll. He's 6% behind right now through the 66 votes casted. John Hunter leading the race, of course. And then Allgaier in 9th, 24% of the votes. Cole Custer in, I believe, 6th place, 15% of the votes so far. Sammy Smith a little bit quicker the last couple laps than John Hunter Nemechek. How much is Nemechek saving his tires, knowing that this isn't the final stint? He's got to go to the end of the race. When will we see potential green flag pit stops as well? We'll listen in.
NASCAR Shop. Check out the greatest selection. There's t-shirts, hats, die casts, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/shop today. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing from New Hampshire, the Ambetter Health 200. 74 laps to go. Out in front, it's John Hunter Nemechek, and running back there in the 5th position is Joe Graf Jr.
Yeah, we just heard Marty from pit road talk to us about this opportunity for Joe Graf Jr. Let's ride along and listen to how this team's trying to help him.
He's beating you into 3 a little bit on entry. You're lifting a little earlier than him, but then you're rolling the center at the same speed. Yeah, if we could get to where we get in just a tick deeper into 3, but still maintain your center, that'll help you. That looks better.
So that's really good information. That spotter, crew chief, engineer all working together to get some data and then provide that to the driver from the spotter. That's just great work. Young driver trying to find a little bit of speed and everybody working together to help him.
And Jeff, that coaching so needed for a young driver. Stevie Reeves, a veteran spotter, providing that information as we watch the battle behind him between the 8 of Josh Berry and Cole Custer coming up there as well. The one thing they're encouraging him to do, Jeff, is drive deeper in the corner. That's what he's missing, about 2 or 3 car lengths lifting off the gas sooner than everybody else. But how hard is it as a young driver to convince yourself, Jeff, drive it a little deeper every lap?
Well, I don't think actually driving in the corner, Marty, is the hard part. It's connecting the rest of the corner, right? So if you drive in the corner, a car lane, 2 car lanes deeper, and now it doesn't do what you want it to in the center, then you've overdriven the corner. And I think if you just said, hey, Joe, it's just as simple as driving in the corner deeper, he would do that. But it's not what he needs to happen in the middle of the corner is not happening. So Yeah, I think he'd do it in a heartbeat, but he needs a little bit something different to get rotation with the front tires.
Well, Jeff, as you know, some of the best races of your career are the smooth ones that you don't have highlights or lowlights, and I feel like it's kind of that way for the 25 of Brett Moffitt, right? Started 12th, running 12th, making his 102nd start in this series. This is the 2015 Cup Rookie of the Year, so he has experience continuing to build with this small team. Has one top 10 here at New Hampshire, running 12th. Maybe today's the day to get his second.
You use the word experience. The guy running right behind him is Austin Dillon. He's got a lot of experience. He's the 2011 Truck Series champion, 2013 Xfinity Series champion. He's been running in the Cup Series ever since that championship. But you look at Austin Dillon, you say, okay, here's a guy who's won a championship in the trucks, won a championship in the Xfinity Series. He could be the first driver ever to sweep and be a champion at all. He still is fighting for another championship, possibly in the Cup Series.
And Daniel Hemrick running 14th. Remember, Xfinity Series champion a couple years ago, left Joe Gibbs Racing, came to Colleague, and here he is today. Started 11th. He got into that incident on the restart on lap 71, and he's done a nice job of recovering that. This team is just a little bit off. They're right there with their teammates, but need to find about a tenth and a half on speed on a weekly basis. They're working hard to get there.
Well, making his first start here at New Hampshire, Parker Retzlaff in the 31 car, the 20-year-old from Wisconsin. Only 27 starts in the series. Started 13th, finished second in stage 2 with some great strategy. Still running inside the top 15, gaining very valuable experience.
Just behind him in that 27 is 30-year-old Jeb Burton. The Burton family, very famous, obviously, in NASCAR. With the guy sitting next to me is Uncle Jeff Burton, Father Ward Burton. He actually began racing in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series at South Boston Speedway at the age of 16. South Boston, I think they should rename that Burton Speedway, because I think all of you guys have cut your teeth at that racetrack. Dave?
We mentioned what happened to Kaz Grala a couple of times in practice. Let's look at it one more time as he gets surprised by Ryan Sieg's loss of brakes going down into turn number 1. Sieg is in the white and blue car, and Kaz will be in the black and blue car. And as the brakes are lost on the Sieg car, he rolls in and tries to strut the speed off. And there it is, just collects the white car of Kaz Grala. Nothing that either driver could do at that point. Kaz told me this morning that as we look back at Kaz here, I've never driven a backup car before, first time ever, but I have no reason to believe this car wouldn't be as good as the one I drove yesterday. And by golly, he's driven from 38th to 17th.
Yeah, good run for Kaz going. A good run, perhaps the career best. Right behind him, the 92 of Josh Williams. Trying to improve his best finish here at New Hampshire. 19th, currently running 18th, a 29-year-old, 171st start. Been in the Xfinity Series a long time. Doing a nice job, continuing to run. A great personality. Got himself in a little bit of trouble in Atlanta with that personality.
Yeah.
But then bounced back with a 9th place in Atlanta last week. So kind of the two different stories at Atlanta. Learned a lot the first one. Great run the second one. Here he is 18th. If he can finish there, it'll be his best finish here.
Yeah, just want to remind everyone, NASCAR had told him to park that car in Atlanta. That was last year. And
do you think they told him where specifically?
They didn't specifically tell him where to park it, so he decided he would park it on the start-finish line during the race. So he's parked it and walked away.
That's one area you don't really need a no parking zone sign.
Well, it didn't go
kind
over.
of clear that's not where you park.
Yeah, it didn't go over well either, because they said go directly to the NASCAR hauler, and then they made him sit in there until the end of the race, which was quite some time.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm impressed with the 7-car Valkyrie. Look how much damage there is to it. And he's hanging in there. I mean, we know the car is not as fast as it was before all this damage, but that guy's not going to quit. He is going to keep clawing, scratching, fighting to get everything he can. Marty, what do you have on those guys?
Well, it's funny. At one point, Jim Pullman said, "How's the car?" And Justin Allgaier replied, "It's not ideal." So, Steve, look at the points he earned today. 15 stage points. This is why stage racing is so critical. Justin Allgaier may not finish in the top 10 today, but with all that damage, what else would you expect? But those stage points on the left-hand side of your screen, that's changed the game. If you walk out of here with, what, a top 15, Steve, and that kind of damage and that amount of points, you a happy crew chief?
Well, I'm a happy crew chief of the result, but I'm not a happy crew chief on Monday, and we're going to sit down and discuss how we got here. You know, I think Justin Allgaier, we heard him earlier, had a lot of confidence, he had a lot of swagger, and I love that part. But then that's a mistake you don't see Justin make, sliding along in his box. So this is where a new crew chief and Jim Holman is his first year with Justin Allgaier. Like, hey, should I have helped you? Should I have tried to temper your enthusiasm for the race? How did we get in this position? Like I said, we're human. It's just a mistake. But how can we work together to not make that? I mean, it doesn't mean no good, Rick, to just say, hey, just don't do it again. Hey, just don't do that again, right? I mean, how can we not do that again?
Team working together to try to improve at every aspect of the race. Out in front, John Hunter Nemechek with a 4-second lead over Sammy Smith with 60 laps to go.
Nemechek has really opened that lead up over recent laps, as you just heard, nearly 4 seconds ahead of Sammy Smith already during the run. Just with when they came back from the commercial break was 73 to go, which was only 14 laps before that. It was only a 1 second lead, so he's expanded 3 seconds over that 18 car over the last 13 to 14 laps. The current full field running order rundown would look like this. Again, Nemechek is the leader. Sammy Smith is in second. Brandon Jones third. Sheldon Creed in fourth. Cole Custer is fifth. Chandler Smith in sixth place. Joe Graff Jr. is falling back to seventh now. Josh Berry eighth. Sam Mayer ninth. And Austin Hill is 10th. Justin Allgaier with damage in 11th. Austin Dillon with damage as well in 12th. Brett Moffitt in 13th. Daniel Heinrich 14th. And Parker Retzlaff is 15th. Jeb Burton 16th, Kaz Gralla 17th, Josh Williams 18th, Kyle Sieg 19th, Ryan Ellis in 20th, Jeremy Clements 21st, Mason Massey last car in the lead lap at 22nd, Alex Abay 23rd, Patrick Emerly 24th, Connor Mosack 25th, Kyle Weatherman 26th, Riley Herbst 27th, Blaine Perkins in 28th, Brennan Poole in 29th, CJ McLaughlin is 30th. 31st is Chris Hacker. 32nd on back out of the race today. Parker Kligerman will finish 32nd. 33rd place, Ryan Sieg. Anthony Alfredo, 34th. Chad Fincham, 35th. Stephen Parsons, 36th. Raja Karut, 37th. And Greg Van Alst will round out our 38-car field here. 7 laps away from ending our poll today for who you think will win today's race. 35% say somebody other than Custer, Nemechek, or Allgaier will win it. Surprising again, still to say the least, considering Nemechek has dominated this race so far today. Came in as a points leader, trying to go for back-to-back wins and get his 4th of the season. He has led 88 of the 144 laps ran so far. He won Stage 1 as well. Or actually, no, he did not win a stage today. Allgaier won Stage 1, and then Sammy Smith won Stage 2. So Nemechek just looking to get the 5 playoff points with winning the race. And, of course, 15 playoff points if he can win the regular season title. He's going to expand that quite a bit over Austin Hill. He came in 16 points ahead of him, but Hill's been pretty much outside the top 5, but in the top 10 all day, so he's gotten some stage points. Nemechek obviously sacrificed the stage win, didn't get that many stage points in Stage 2, and ended up finishing second in Stage 1. So he ended up getting double-digit points. I think he ended up 8th at the end of Stage 2, if I'm not mistaken. So he scores 12 stage points entirely today, but Austin Hill just a couple. And obviously, if Nemechek wins this race, and Hill still finishes back around 10th, although it's a good day for Hill, not the day he needed to keep up with Nemechek, especially coming in with that deficit already.
It's like, well, I'm either going to try to win or score points. Most of the time, that happens together. Like, if you have a car good enough to win, then you can actually score the most points. And I wonder what this would look like. These guys can go longer on fuel, but the 2 is starting to lose some time, Kim.
And they wanted to be the first to pit last. Sheldon saying it was snappy on entrance, tight center. Exit pretty good, though. 4-tire Sunoco fuel. Slight air pressure adjustment for Sheldon Creed on this stop.
So now this is going to be very interesting because first to pit last. Why? Let's put some fresh tires on. Let's try to make up our time on the racetrack. Let's see. This pit road kind of comes up quick. Oh, hand out the window. What? No, don't go to my left.
Chandler Smith was right there, and now he's in front of you, Kim.
4 tires.
And for Sammy Smith, he was just complaining a little bit snug. Needs help rotating on the center. As you see, right front looked slightly slow there on that stop. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel going in for Sammy Smith on pit road.
Now, while he was the second place guy, normally we would be jumping on the leader like he needs to come right away. The good thing for John Hunter is he had a 4-second lead. So he can take a deep breath, run an extra lap if he thinks he needs to.
And Cole Custer, I've been watching him. He's fast. He's run down Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones drove away from that 2-car Sheldon Creed, but the 00 has run Brandon down. And Cole's been about the second fastest car the last several laps, Kim.
And for Josh Berry, they have been massaging on the car all day long, just way too tight. Can't get it to turn the way you want. As you see the chassis adjustment there, still trying to free him up. He said, especially on throttle, that's where I need help with the turn. Those 4 tires going on the machine of Josh Berry.
You see the 9, Berry's teammate of Brandon Jones now coming to pit road. That 4.7-second lead that Nemechek had, that allows him to be a little bit more flexible. Dave, the 9 coming at you.
And Jason Burdett told him they were pretty happy with how they had connected the corner. They just try to work on getting him a little bit more drive off the corners. That's what the driver really wants here. Pretty common problem here at New Hampshire, Marty.
Cole Custer's going to come down pit road, clarified with his team and his crew chief, Jonathan Tony. Hey, we are coming here. Now he comes to pit road as Brandon Jones wraps up his stop. He actually said early in the run, the car did not feel as good, almost like the back end was swinging around way too much. But boy, did it come along, as Jeff Burton mentioned, Dave.
No changes for John Hunter Nemechek, the race leader. Had that lead. Where will he cycle back in? 34 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for him. Can he win for the second week in a row?
Upper right, you see the 18 is the car we're going to compare the 22, because the 18 is the first one that has pitted. He's about to start-finish line. You can see on the graphic, but the 20, he's in the middle of 1 and 2. So here comes Sammy Smith. We're going to have to chase ahead to find the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek, because he's already accelerating down the backstretch.
Yeah, he's coming into turn 3 right now. There's Sammy Smith and that 18. The Toyota onboard giving us a great view, and Sam Mayer slides into his stall right in front of you, Dave.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was a little bit too close to the wall there. Let's see how the crew reacts.
Yeah, 2 tires.
Yep, just 2 tires. It was way too close there, guys.
Yeah. Marty Lindley made the call for 2 tires because they couldn't have put 4 on it. The only way to put 4 on it was to back up, and Marty just made the decision, hey, this ain't going to work. He's just in there so deep. And now the left front tire is right against the wall. It would have been hard to jack the car. It would have been hard to change the left front tire, Dave.
Maybe just a little bit of a tweak here for Chandler Smith for the end of this race. The thing that he'd been doing much better that last run, rolling the center of the corner. The team praised him for that. A little bit slow on the right side here as Chandler Smith tries to win from pole today. He was running outside the top group, or just outside, inside the top group, top 5 when he pitted.
Back up to speed, coming off of that number 1 pit stall. Parker Retzlaff, as you see, also on pit road. The 31, Joe Graff Jr. is being scored out in front now. Austin Dillon, 2 seconds behind him.
So the Austin Dillon machine is going to be the interesting one, because he was last on pit road at lap 104. I mean, that's 96 laps, but he's had a bunch of yellows. You wonder what kind of Hail Mary they're going to throw in this 10 car. Alex Yance on the pit box. You know, I don't think they can go all the way. But I would go as absolute long as I can and maybe just take gas only and try to catch a yellow.
And Steve, I just had the same thought, so I walked down, checked in with the team. They've got tires on the wall. The crew is kind of waiting there, but there's no sense of urgency. I said, will you need to stop? And they just kind of shrugged and said, we don't know. We haven't heard anything. His teammate, though, Daniel Hamrick, you see on the bottom of the screen, he said tight through the middle, snappy on exit as he finishes his stop under green.
What the 19 does by staying on the racetrack is it takes some guys, and now you're a lap down, right?
I'm going to run long. I mean, why not? Try to get a caution here.
Sounds like a conversation between a couple crew members, or maybe even communication to the driver.
Probably from Jason Ratcliffe, who has won a ton of races here. He has so many race wins, and he's sitting there saying, hey, let's give this kid some clean air. Let's let him lead some laps. Maybe something big happens here, you know? What's a great opportunity for a young guy to be in the spotlight a little bit, feel that, and have a chance to maybe something magical happen. You never know.
Well, because the advantage you have now is if you run long and you get a yellow, while Nemechek has already pitted, he's going to be kind of right at your rear bumper. You know, he's going to either have to come get, or he's now put his last set of tires on. So now you're going to have fresher tires than John Hunter. So you at least find an advantage where you can.
We saw the 8 get by that 19, so he unlapped himself. That was Josh Berry. With him unlapping himself, that means there's 17 cars on the lead lap now. Joe Graff Jr. still staying on the racetrack out front.
And Rick, I think the other thing Jason Ratcliffe thought in this decision-making to kind of leave the 19 out there is the fact that they had finally got a gotten the line on the racetrack with Stevie Reeves and Jason where they wanted it. And Jay were very happy with what Joe Graf was doing on the racetrack. The lap times have not been spectacular here at the end of the run, but Austin Dillon still almost a second back. Why not leave him out as long as you can?
I like it. I like the call. I like what they're trying. And if you're the 10 right here, you're just trying to, you have a little better fuel. You set right in behind them. And John Hunter back in 5th. He's 14 seconds back. You're trying to run this 10 down the best you can.
How much conserve would you go, Steve, if you're the 10 of Austin Dillon? I mean, if you do try to make it, could you just, go as slow as staying in front of the guy that's behind you?
I would see how much I can save, and can I stay in front of Nemechek, who we know can make it. The problem is Nemechek is running almost a second faster, so you can't win the race at this point. So I would run as long as I can, but there's zero reason to run yourself out of gas. Now, I would run out of gas if I thought I could stay in front of Nemechek to win the race, but you don't want to run out of gas for second or third in this car. So running long makes a difference. And with this kind of jumble, we've changed some names, right? You see Williams in 4th, Nemechek in 5th, Sammy Smith in 6th. How about Mason Massey back there in 7th in the 08? That's impressive run.
Stay up, stay up, stay up.
There's the yellow. That can change everything.
No caution yet.
There it is.
Caution's out.
Kyle Sieg in the 28. Down on the apron. And gets it fired back up again.
That's why you stay.
Looks as though he's going to roll around the track before he comes to pit road.
We heard from Ryan Sieg earlier. Kyle's the younger brother of Ryan.
Your flat spot him, Kyle. Abundant tires there. I don't think so, but yeah, he just wasn't me there. The 4 was going so slow in the corner. I went in. The 4 was going in there, so I was going to hit him if I didn't go below him.
Josh Berry just gets him in the left rear. Spins the 28 out. Now it's an interesting point. So the interesting thing here is on the left side of your screen, those drivers like Nemechek, or here's a better way to look at it. Everybody with bright green tires on has put new tires on, but the key point is they've put their last set of new tires on. So Nemechek, Sammy Smith, Custer, they have over 10 green flag laps. Now Dillon, Joe Graf, Allgaier, Williams, they're going to come in and put their tires on. Now they will lose a position because Nemechek probably won't pit, but the only advantage they've had over the 20 all day, at least now they're going to have a little fresher tires. We'll see if it'll matter on only 39 laps, but that's kind of the reset we're getting ready to have.
So the caution comes out for the 7th time today. This one's for Kyle Sieg. He was running in the 27th position, 2 laps down. We saw the little hit by the 8 of Josh Berry that spun him around. Pit road is closed right now as everyone getting in line and position.
Yeah, I think the 21 right there of Hill, he was of the opinion that he was the last car in the lead lap, and I think NASCAR held him, let the pace car go by him. So he may be the first car 1 lap down. We'll have to just see what NASCAR has to say.
And there's a big difference between the first car 1 lap down and being in the lead lap. If you're in the lead lap, you line up, he would be lining up no worse than 16th. But when you get the wave around, you start at the tail end of the longest line. So that's a major difference.
And Herb's back there behind him. You think it's a major difference for him? He goes, wait, I was going to get the freedom.
Yes.
I think he was on the lead lap too. Let's put it back up there. Now it's about pit stops, and we're going to see, I don't know, I'm guessing about 10 of those 16, maybe 8 of those 16 cars come. The front 4 for sure. Mason Massey, I just mentioned his name. This is a great chance for him. Only his 3rd start this year, right? And now here he's going to be able to restart somewhere inside the top 50 in that 08 car.
This time by. It looks as though pit road is open, so we'll see how many takers we get. Of course, Austin Dillon, Joe Graf Jr. are on their way. Kim.
And Austin Dillon was going to stay out if it stayed green, but crew chief Alex Young topped off the box, said this changes everything. We have to come. You see the tires going on. Those are actually scuffs, 15-lap scuffs for Austin Dillon, Marty.
Joe Graf Jr. slides into a stall, makes contact with the wall a little bit right there. They have to pull him back. Now they're going to go right side tires. Interesting to see if Jason Ratcliffe goes with 4. He will go with 4. Meanwhile, on the bottom of your screen, Justin Allgaier, he was 12th when this cycle started under green flag conditions. We'll see where he cycles back down. Has to check up a little bit to get around the 35 car. Said the car was way too tight for Allgaier. He needed much more front turn in the center of the corner.
It's been a tough pit road, especially for Allgaier, who had an issue earlier, and now Joe Graf Jr. slides all the way into the wall.
Definitely came in a little hot. I don't know if he actually made contact with the wall or not. It doesn't look like it, but definitely too tight that they had to back the car up so they could get around to the left side, jack it up, and change those tires as well. So it looks like John Hunter Nemechek, Sammy Smith, Cole Custer, and Sheldon Creed, I do believe, will be the front 4 on this upcoming restart. Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, then Chandler Smith, Josh Berry, and then 9th on back will be everybody that just pitted. So with about 10 to 15 lap fresher tires will be Austin Dillon, Justin Allgaier, Joe Graf Jr., and Austin Hill. Hill, of course, just got the free pass to get back on the lead lap, I do believe, as well. So we are currently sitting at 23 cars on the lead lap. There were a few extra that took the wave round. I think when the caution initially came out, we had 16 or 17 on the lead lap. There was some trapped a lap down with a lot of drivers running long trying to catch that caution. They will get the restart ahead of those that took the wave around. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We are at 65 likes on the stream right now. We need to get to 100. We have just over 100 people watching currently, so be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're going to take our final break of the day for the Ambetter Health 200. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will get into the finish of this race here shortly. We have closed the poll as well. Because we were less than 50 to go in the race, 76 votes there. You guys think that somebody other than Allgaier, Nemechek, or Custer will win this race? 35% said that. Allgaier and Nemechek tied at 25% of the votes, and Custer at 15%. So very surprised that you guys didn't take Nemechek. He's dominated the day today. He's led over 100 laps, almost over 100, 95 at this point. If he leads to the end, he will have over 100. As we're down to about 35 laps to go. But again, we will take our final break. Lights are still on in the pace car, so they have not gotten the one-to-go signal yet. And then we will be right here for the finish. Sammy Smith was able to keep up with John Hunter Nemechek during that last run. It'll be interesting if, well, he was able to keep up with him on the short run, but it'll be interesting if he could actually keep up with him pushing hard throughout the course of the whole run to the finish. It'll also be interesting to watch where Austin Dillon, Joe Graf Jr. come from specifically in the field. They are crediting Austin Hill with the free pass, so he will be in 17th. Herbst had to take the wave round, so he'll be 18th. So he'll be back a little bit further in the field. Not a good timing caution there for Hill, because I think he was right around 9th or 10th when the pit stop started, so he definitely lost some track position there and is on lesser tires than those that are just in front of him on the restart too, so it'll make it difficult to try to get those spots back, and maybe looking at a not so good finish after all here for Austin Hill after it looked like he was going to have at least a decent run. One to go signal this time by as they head to the choose roll. We'll have officially 33 laps to go in the restart. Nemechek elects the outside lane. No surprise that has been the preferred lane today in the front row. Sammy Smith to his inside, and then row 2, it'll be Sheldon Creed on the bottom, Cole Custer on the top. Row 3, Sam Mayer down low, and Brandon Jones on the outside. 2 Toyotas, a Ford, 2 Chevys in the top 5, and then all Chevys running 6th through 10th as well. Herbst with damage. Getting this lap back with the wave round is big because he was around 27th pretty much ever since he wrecked, and now he's up to 18th. His gap is still only 20 points though on Kligerman, where he was running top 10 all day. If he didn't get into an incident, then considering he would have got stage points in stage 2, and of course having that, that was early at stage 3 when he had the incident, if I'm not mistaken. Well, let me look. Was that stage 3 or stage 2 when Herbst wrecked? It was stage 3, yes. Beginning of stage 3, so he would have gotten his stage points already for stage 2, but still, he could be definitely further ahead of the cutoff line than what he is sitting right now with Kligerman, of course, in the garage and out of the race. Pace car is on pit road. Green flag back in the air. A little bit of a bottleneck on the outside. Not as bad as what we saw earlier, of course. Sammy Smith failed to take off in the Geico restart zone. Has to make a late block. And going into the corner, nearly 4 wide behind him, Brandon Jones slides up the racetrack. He is completely sideways, saves it in front of the pack. They're still 4 wide trying to get around him. Austin Hill to the outside. Got to pass a handful of cars. They're also 4 wide, down to 3 wide on the backstretch. Josh Berry with a lot of damage, it looks like, to the left front of his race cars. He's got a major tire rub going on. That is a tough break. He was lined up, I believe, in row 4 in the restart, but there was a lot of contact going into that first corner as they were 4 wide. And Barry ended up, unfortunately, getting some damage on the left side of his car. Cole Custer got the second, passing Sammy Smith off camera that last lap. He is trying to keep up with John Hunter Nemechek. We haven't talked about Custer a whole lot because he hasn't really been up in contention to compete for the win with Nemechek today. But kind of turning it on here on this last restart. His pit crew has lost him a bunch of spots, but a good restart by the 00 to get to second. He has split up the JGR Toyotas, and we will see. Of course, with Sammy Smith not taking off, that also allowed for the opportunity for Custer to make the pass. 3 wide middle, in between the JRM Chevys of Brandon Jones and Josh Berry is Austin Dillon in the 10 on slightly fresher tires. Still has a little bit of damage from that Riley Herbst incident. And that stack up kind of cost Dillon as well because he restarted 9th, and it looks like he's in 10th currently. Brandon Jones losing quite a few positions, which is not good. He's on the bubble coming into the race today. 81 points back, in fact, coming in. So he needs to gain either a lot of points per race or he is going to have to win one of these final regular season races if he's going to want to make the playoffs. It'd be a shame to see a Junior Motorsport Chevrolet miss the playoffs, especially Brandon Jones, who was so close to making the championship 4 a year ago. To completely miss out on the playoffs entirely this year would be a huge loss for that team that had some high hopes coming in. Dillon trying to block the 9 car in the backstretch. The 9's shaking back and forth. He's going to get picked behind Jeremy Clements in the 51. Josh Williams hanging on to a top 10 right now in 8th place. What a run for that 92 team. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hang on there or not. He's got some fast cars behind him with the 10, the 9, and the 21. The 8 still staying on the racetrack. Barry's falling back to 12th with that damage on the left front fender. Guess they don't feel it's rubbing enough to want to come into the pits. Maybe they're hoping we get a caution before that, but we'll see how much longer Barry will go. Now back to 13th place. It's Josh Berry. Austin Hill going to get by Jeremy Clements, who's got quite a bit of damage from that restart zone accident earlier in Stage 2. And Custer, after challenging Nemechek for the lead there in that second lap following the restart, is now about 8 to 9 tenths of a second off the lead. Nemechek was about 0.07 of a second quicker than Cole Custer that last lap, as we're down to 27 laps to go this time by. Hill trying to get after Brandon Jones, try to sneak back in the top 10. 8 spots gained from the restart already for Hill. Make that 6 spots from 17th to 11th. Barry continues to lose ground, so he's definitely got some damage that's affecting the aero play of that race car. Still has a lot of cars behind him. He's in danger of losing more positions as well. He was over 80 points to the good, and obviously problems with Herbst and Kligerman today would still probably help him in the points, considering Barry was top 5 in both Stage 1 and Stage 2. Although he didn't score top 5 stage points in Stage 2 because of the incident, of course, which caused for late pit stops by some drivers to sacrifice stage points. He ended up coming in. I don't think he actually got stage points in Stage 2 as a result, but he had been top 5 all day for the first half of the race. Not so much here in the second half, especially with this damage on the latest restart. Justin Allgaier is the highest running of those that just pitted. He's 4.5 seconds off the lead, currently in 6th, so he got way ahead of even Austin Dillon, kind of missing some of the stack-up that was going on that inside lane from Sammy Smith, spinning his tires as they were getting to the green flag. And we will see if Allgaier's maybe got anything for Nemechek when he wasn't damaged. He was probably the only driver who can keep up with the 20 on speed, and Custer was kind of just behind them. Now it's Custer in second, Nemechek in the lead, but we're missing that 7 car up at the front. What could have been if he didn't have that pit road penalty for sliding too far out of the box, and then the picture, of course, going to work on that car a little early, adding insult to injury there. Got just over 100 people watching, 68 likes. We're 32 away with 23 laps to go. It's not looking good to get to that goal today, but let's make sure we try to get as close as we can here. Closing laps. Hill still battling Brandon Jones. Looking to the inside again. And that is a battle for 10th place. Hill needs the points to keep up with Nemechek for the regular season standings. Especially if Nemechek goes on to win the race today. Hill's already been outscored in stage points by the 20 in both stages. And, of course, Brandon Jones needs these points because he's trying to get himself in. That problem that Herbst had earlier, huge for him, especially with Kligerman out of the race as well. Herbst was the car he had to catch, though, coming into the day. He's definitely going to gain some points finishing ahead of him, scoring more stage points as well, but this last restart also kind of held him back just a little bit. Another battle inside the top 10 going on between, it looks like Sheldon Creed and Josh Williams. Williams is closing in on the 2 of Creed. Josh Williams goes. He's going to potentially try to pick up the 7th place position. Both RCR cars have been a little bit off the pace today. Hill started off pretty good in that first stage, but then he's got to slowly move backwards in the running order. He does have damage in the nose of the race car, which may be hurting the aero in the center of the corners, especially on this flatter racetrack where you're kind of going to be tucked in behind another car more so than some of the banked ovals, which have a lot more room to run in the center of the corner to catch clean air. And I believe that was also from that same restart zone accident in Stage 2. And we have quite a few other drivers in the field with damage that are still running from that incident as well. Chandler Smith getting by for 3rd on Sammy Smith the last lap, quickly pulling away. Chandler started on the pole, fell back outside the top 5 pretty quickly in the race, but has found himself back up in 3rd late in the going. So a great regroup for that 16 car. In fact, Chandler Smith was the fastest car on the track that last lap. He was about 2/10 quicker than John Hunter Nemechek, so we'll keep an eye on Chandler here. Making some gains. Maybe John Hunter saving his tires a little bit more than Chandler at this point in the run. That last lap, Chandler Smith another 10th quicker. The problem is with 19 laps to go, I don't know that he's got enough time to get by the 00 and the 20. But he is looking quick. We'll see how slightly he can cut that gap down. Great job by Sam Mayer to potentially get a top 5 as well. Not a great start for him in this race, but it's not about where he starts, where you finish, and he's having a good run right now. Some of the bright spots for Mayer in his first year and a half in the Xfinity Series have been on the super speedways and the short tracks. That one car's had quite a bit of speed. His teammate Justin Allgaier running him down for that 5th place position against slightly fresher tires despite the damaged car for Allgaier. So this will be an interesting battle between these two teammates for that 5th spot. Allgaier still, of course, in the battle for the regular season championship. Great resurgence with a potential top 5 despite the damage to his car today. So that could potentially still keep him in the battle, although he'll lose points to the race leader and points leader, who is that same guy at the front of the field right now. Cole Custer 1.4 seconds off the lead. Chandler Smith not quite as quick as Nemechek that last lap. Nemechek picked it up a bit and was a 10th quicker than Chandler. Chandler was quicker the previous 3 to 4 laps than John Hunter Nemechek, but not that last lap. Allgaier trying to get to the outside of Mayer, who runs the bottom through 3 and 4. 7 car going to get a lot better drive off. Big slip up from the rear tires out of Mayer as he tried to pick up the throttle off of turn 4, battling maybe slightly loose conditions. They'll transfer lanes this time through 1 and 2. Allgaier goes to the bottom. Mayer tried to take his lane away up high and can't quite complete the pass there. Austin Hill still battling Brandon Jones for 10th. They have been nose to tail this entire restart. The 21 just has not been able to get underneath the 9 yet. Lap car got in the way of Allgaier. He couldn't take the bottom through 3 and 4. Struggled in the center in the dirty air behind the 7, or behind the 1 rather, and the 1 quickly pulls about 3 to 4 car lengths ahead that time on the front stretch. Allgaier's got about 15 more laps to get by Mayer. It's going to be tough for him to catch Sammy Smith, who's another 2.5 seconds ahead of Mayer. Chandler Smith picking up again. Down to 2.2 seconds off the lead. He's 2/10 quicker than Nemechek, but then as they timed in the next lap, he was 2/10 slower than Nemechek, so he lost that time right back again. Lap car could have gotten in the way of Chandler Smith just a little bit that last lap. Cole Custer also picked up on John Hunter. So the top three just kind of transferring times with one another. It's just whoever can make the least amount of mistakes at this point. Who's got the better handling in their cars? We get deeper into the run. Remember, a lot of these guys at the front of the field, excluding Allgaier, have probably close to 50 laps in their tires at this point in the run, considering they ran about 15 laps or so before that last caution came out, plus the 33 laps since the yellow. Or the restart. Which is how many laps we had to go. I guess to the end of the race, approximately they'll have in the ballpark between 45 to 50 laps in their tires, which is about as far as they've gone on a full set of tires in today's race. The way the cautions and the pit stops have laid out in this one. Even with the green flag stops we had in this stage as well, they were originally trying to split the run in half to the end and got that caution just after most of the field pitted, but there were still some cars that stayed out, which trapped some drivers a lap down. Looks like Riley Herbst ended up losing another lap here, falling back to 23rd. I think he restarted 18th, so he's lost about 5 more positions, which will help Kligerman in the standings. I believe as they run, Herbst will be 15 points ahead of Kligerman for that final playoff spot in the Xfinity Series. Top 12 qualify for the Xfinity playoffs at the end of the regular season. Ace Elshire, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. Renata Raballo, thanks for tuning in as well. Got about 158 people watching, only 73 likes, 10 laps to go this time by. Let's try to get to our goal of 100 likes on the stream here. You'll get to listen in to the interview from the race winner and some of the other top finishers of this race as well, leading up to at least the first commercial post-race on the USA Network with our post-race coverage, usually abbreviated with the post-race coverage on the Xfinity and Truck Series streams. Not as long with our Cup side, mainly because we don't have any predictions to go over from the pre-race. Only prediction I had for today's race was predicting John Hunter Nemechek to win, and he has a 2.5 lead over Custer. Smith is slowly running down Custer for second, and we've got a caution with 9 laps to go. Parker Retzlaff is in the wall. Quite a bit of damage to the left side of his race car. He has gone around. He's going to try to drive it back to pit road, it appears. Got to wait for the field to get by first. Austin Dillon made his way up to 8th right for that caution flag came out, as well as he just passed Josh Williams. And then Austin Hill also got up to 10th, passing Brandon Jones just before the yellow as well. Checking out a replay, what happened with the 31. Went around middle of the corner. Very similar to Connor Mosack when he spun in the center of the corner, got loose. Although Retzlaff hit very hard. I don't know if he was sliding a little bit before where the camera picked up his spin. Maybe a brake failure. Hopefully not. But he is getting out of the car under his own power. He will not be able to drive it back into the pits. And he'll be taking the mandatory trip to the infield care center.
Not a problem.
All right, who's best on restarts?
Well, listen, John Hunter has led 123 laps, so I'm not going to instantly say that somebody has an advantage over him, but it's way easier to run the last 8 laps with a second lead than it is to have to get through the restart zone. I'm telling you, we've seen it here so many times. Here in Atlanta, so easy to spin the tires. So now you're going to do it on hot tires. So you just can't step on the throttle. If you go to wide open, you're going to look like a top fuel dragster. You're going to have smoke coming off. You're not going to go anywhere. You have to time it right. John Hunter seems to want to wait very late in the zone so people accelerate quick. Maybe this time he'll go nice and early, try to catch everybody off guard, but it's going to be really, really tough to restart here.
We saw the tires up on the wall there. Is that somebody playing a little poker?
Well, I mean,
hey, I'm going to show you tires, but we're probably not coming.
Well, Josh Berry will probably come. He has a damaged left front fender. He's almost last car on the lead lap. Probably put some colder scuffs on. Remember, earlier those stages were pretty short, so you have some older scuffs, but I don't believe Cole Custer in the 00 is going to pit from second. No, I think you stay out on these tires.
Pit road is open. We'll see if anybody chooses to come down. Marty?
So far, no takers, Rick. Let's chat with Jonathan Toney, crew chief for Cole Custer. So, seems like the cars really needed a long run. How do you feel about a little restart and a short run here, though?
Yeah, for sure. The Haas Automation car's been really good on the long runs and got some laps on our tires now. Got a caution. I think we got the best little race car driver in the Xfinity Series, so we'll go race them and see what we can do here.
Is this where you hope his experience in the Cup Series pays off on a critical restart like this?
For sure. At the end of the day, when you got a driver, Cole's caliber, just got to put him in a position. We got him in a position, and so, we feel pretty confident about our chances here.
This is going to be fun to watch. Custer's needed those long runs to kind of take off, Rick, but this short run, we'll see if it pays off, and the restart's going to be huge here.
Yes, it will.
I spoke to Jonathan a few weeks ago, sat down and spent quite a bit of time with him, and if you want a Cole Custer cheerleader, that's your guy, because that guy believes wholeheartedly in Cole Custer. He told me that Cole Custer is the best driver in this series, and that Cole makes his job way easier. Jonathan said, I get him something close, Cole's going to drive it to the front. He had supreme confidence in Cole Custer's ability.
All right, so we talked about the choose a little bit ago, and you kind of cheated and only took the first 2 cars or 3 cars.
Well, what do you want to take?
He took 3 cars.
So let's talk about not only the choose, but Jeff, take me into these drivers, cleaning the rear tires off. We see them spin the tires. How do you prevent it? Like, if you're the leader versus the guy in second, what's your mindset?
Well, so let's work our way back just a little bit, right? John Hunter Nemechek, he's racing this racetrack quite a bit. He knows that the restart zone is very, very slick. He knows you're going to spin the tires. Cole Custer, he's won here before, so he knows it as well. A guy in that 16, I don't think he knows. I don't think he has that experience. He doesn't understand how bad the tires are going to be spinning on this restart. Sammy Smith in the second, also next to him. So the second row, I think that's where the not understanding of how the rear spin on old hot tires, how bad that can be. Nemechek and Custer, they should know it. But what do you do? How do you do that, right? And if Nemechek, in my opinion, tries to go late in the restart zone this time, like we saw him do earlier in the race, that's a disadvantage to him, because then you're having to launch at a high rate of speed. If you launch earlier, then you can accelerate a little bit cleaner and try to keep those rear tires from spinning. So if I'm Nemechek at this time, I'm going early in the zone. I'm going to check up a little bit, make them think what I'm going to do, but the second I get to that restart zone, I'm going to start accelerating.
This will not be an overtime procedure restart. We will have more than 2 laps to go. Not sure if they're going to get the 1-to-go signal this time by or not. Coming up with 5 laps left this time by. John Hunter Nemechek obviously at the front of the field still. And they will be getting 1 to go, I believe, this time. Yes, they are. So we will have 4 laps to go on the restart. Nemechek going to take the outside, no surprise there. That's been the preferred lane. The control car is taking the outside every restart of today's race. I'm sure we'll see the same in the Cup race tomorrow as well. Cole Custer to the inside lane of row 1 will be the challenger to his opposition to the outside. Sammy Smith and Chandler Smith will be in row 2. Sammy down low, Chandler up high. Ben Bishore.
So hopefully get a good launch here and get out front and then kind of dictate where we need to run our line. So I think I like our chances. All right, there you go. Likes his chances up front, and John Hunter has been up front all day long, but we'll see how he does here on this restart, Rick.
That was, again, Ben Bishore, crew chief of the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek. Kind of tough to hear with all the lap cars trying to race their way back to the back of the pack, setting up for this restart. Again, 4 laps left in a shootout. John Hunter Nemechek versus Cole Custer. Sammy Smith, who was on the inside of row 1 of the last restart, spun his tires. We'll see if Custer takes off well this time. Through the restart zone, Nemechek takes off in the middle. Sammy Smith again spins his tires from the inside of row 2. Now, Sam Mayer jumped down to the inside before they got to the start-finish line, so he may get a lane violation here. More on that in a little bit. Oh, no, Mayer spins in the middle of the corner And the 10 of Austin Dillon gets hit hard from behind by Joe Graff Jr., trying to check up for the spinning one car of Mayer. Now we're going to overtime. Connor Mosack with a lot of damage to the 24 as well. The 19's on fire on the backstretch as he'll have to park it. Mayer was sliding for a while, then the 10 got hit from behind by the 19 and then slammed into Mayer in the middle of the corner when Mayer's car was pretty much at a dead stop. A lot of damage to the left side of the one car. 24 piled in behind the 19 as well. And a 4 to 5 car incident there will cause us to have yet another restart. Now Chandler Smith, as of right now, has scored ahead of Cole Custer on our screen. Nemechek was clear into turns 1 and 2. He'll still be the leader, but Chandler Smith, Cole Custer going to get on there. And I would not be shocked if some of that was maybe caused by yeah, it was Sammy Smith. So Sammy Smith got into the back of Sam Mayer in the middle of 1 and 2. That's what spun the one car around. So first Sammy Smith spun his tires on the restart, causing a stack up, and then he proceeded to get into the back of the one car in the middle of turns 1 and 2 as well. And unfortunately, causing this late incident. Good job by Josh Williams just turning underneath the 10. 19 hit the 10 so hard it actually picked the rear tires of the 10 car up off the ground. Brandon Jones got ran into from behind by the 24 Mosack. Mosack did not run into the back of the 19. So I wonder how much damage is on Jones' race car. He was having such a great day. He was kind of fading late and how caught up in this incident. And it doesn't look like he's going to really gain many points on Herbst after all with the incident that Herbst had, because Herbst has scored only one position behind Jones now. So both of them had stage points in the first 2 stages as well, because both of their incidences now coming in this final stage. Godzilla Legendary 2078, thanks for tuning in. Joe, thanks for tuning in. Monday's weather will be nice, mid-80s, no cloud cover. Yeah, if they don't race tomorrow, we will still have live commentary Monday on the channel. More details on that after the checkered flag here. So stay tuned for that. Right now, our start time for tomorrow is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but obviously if the race gets postponed to Monday before our start time for the stream tomorrow, then we will do it on Monday. But if there's no word on, postponing the race to Monday by 2 o'clock, then we will go live at 2 still tomorrow as planned for our pre-race coverage. Hugie Azel, thanks for tuning in also. Taking a commercial break here. A lot of cleanup to be had. Barry McCockner, thanks for tuning in. Sammy, does he still have a shot? I mean, technically, he's still in it. I don't think he's got a lot of damage from that incident. Betty Putzer, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I said your name correctly. I think I did the second time. Union Pacific 4855 Trentman Rail fan, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, who's going to take home the lobster? I forgot they give a lobster to the winner of this race. I think they do it for any series that races here too. By the way, is the modified series race there supposed to be tonight after the Xfinity race? Or was it earlier today? Because this is like always one of their better races, I feel like. Hopefully they can get it in before the rain comes, because I think it's supposed to start raining tonight at New Hampshire and then kind of rain all the way through tomorrow. $5 says they race tomorrow. That's a bold prediction. Now, I haven't checked the hour-by-hour forecast for Loudon, New Hampshire since I woke up this morning, which was about 6:30. So there is a chance that maybe it's cleared up, but I haven't checked in like 11 hours. So yeah, the inside of the front row, within those first couple rows, have seen drivers spin their tires throughout the course of the race today. And Nemechek has been pretty good on the restarts, really. He hasn't made a single mistake all day. Honestly, majority of the time he's been clear before they even get into turn 1, as he was on that last restart as well. I didn't even see that the 16 got into the 9 after he hit the inside wall going into turn 1 on the second to last restart, which is what caused the 9 to have that slip up. He got loose and saved it. I was thinking he had contact with him, which he did, but I didn't think it was because the 16 hit the wall, the inside of the track. He ran out of racetrack. So Chandler Smith going to be on the inside of the 20 again. Last time he was on the front row, he had a parking lot wreck on the restart. So hopefully this time that isn't the case. And Cole Custer, I would have to imagine, going to go to the outside of row 2 this time. So now we're under overtime procedures, as we seem to go into overtime at least in one of the 3 series in NASCAR every other week, it feels. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware, but if you are new to the sport of NASCAR, wondering how overtime works, you get the green flag. You'll have 2 laps, green, white, checkered finish. So 2 laps to try to win the race from that point. If the race leader gets to the white flag and the caution comes out, the race is over. If the caution comes out before the race leader gets to the white flag, then we will set up for another restart, and it is unlimited attempts at a restart. So I mean, we could be here for like 5-6 restarts if we really needed to be, until we get that 1 lap to go when the race leader crosses the start-finish line. And the field is frozen when the caution comes out on the final lap as well. They don't go to the last scoring loop, so it's at the time of the yellow when they designate their finishing positions. Modified race is supposed to start at 6 tonight. Well, it won't be starting at 6 anymore with how late this Xfinity race is going. It started off as a really clean, good race through the first stage, and then it's kind of been caution-filled after that. If the 7 could have stayed without damage and not had that incident, it would have been a great battle between him and the 20 today. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Allgaier will be 8th on this upcoming restart. Austin Hill, inside the top 5, got up to 5th, missing all the carnage there. I think he was in 10th before that, so he picked up 5 spots. Jeb Burton back in the top 10 as well. He was 7th earlier, then lost a lot of track position. Now he's back up to 10th. And Josh Williams still holding on in 9th. He's been running pretty much 7th and 9th for most of his final stage. Great job for that Mario Gosling 92 team. Should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time by. And then we will be going green once again. Free pass given to Ryan Ellis. That last caution flag. And this was our 9th yellow of the race. Nemechek has led 132 of the scheduled 200 laps in today's race. The next closest in the laps led category was Justin Allgaier, who has led 27 laps in the race. So Nemechek has led over 100 laps more than the next closest competitor. Easily has had the fastest car. He's been the one to beat today. Can he get the job done? He won on a flat track in Martinsville earlier this year, and he's trying to win at the next closest flat track to it here today at New Hampshire. And also try to go for back-to-back wins if he can win this one, because he won at Atlanta on the Super Speedway last week. If I'm not mistaken, I think... No, Austin Hill didn't win back-to-back earlier this year. It was every other race, those first 5 he won. So I think Nemechek would be the first driver in the Xfinity Series this year to win back-to-back races, if I'm not mistaken, if he does win this. So there's only 3 drivers that have won more than one race in the Xfinity Series this season. Custer won on a couple of road courses within the span of like 4 weeks. Hill every other race earlier in the year. Unless Nemechek won both of his races back-to-back earlier this season, then we wouldn't have had somebody win back-to-back races this year. One to go. Chandler Smith going to take the outside of row 2 on the restart. This is interesting. So the 16 will be behind the 20, so Custer will be on the inside of row 1 again, and Sheldon Creighton will be on the bottom of row 2. So that's an interesting call there by Chandler Smith, not taking the front row. I think he's just trying to go for second at this point. I don't think he thinks he's got a shot at the win either way, so maybe that's why he went behind the 20. Or he's just going to send him going in the first turn, which I hope doesn't happen, because Nemechek deserves to win this race. Dominated. 100% chance of rain tomorrow. Is that what the forecast is? That's tough. There's no way around that. I was going to check to see who won back-to-back this season. I don't have enough time now. They'll be going green this time by. They're heading into turns 3 and 4. This will be our first attempt at an overtime finish, as we will go officially 6 laps past the scheduled distance if this is the only overtime restart coming up here. Sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal, 100 likes on the stream today. We are at 82, so 18 away. Be sure to hit that like button, again, if you haven't done so yet. It'll be John Hunter Nemechek and Cole Custer in the front row. Custer on the inside, Nemechek on the outside, green flag back in the air. Custer did not take off well, as kind of predicted, and has been the case most of the day. Got a push from the 2-16 car to the outside of the 00 for right now. Custer moves off the bottom. Sheldon Creed takes it 3 wide to the inside of the racetrack. He's trying to get up to second as he squeezes Custer off the exit of the corner. Austin Hill going to have to back out of the gas. One car up against the wall further back outside of the racetrack off of turn 2, but we stay green. Everybody rolls into 3 and 4. Creed trying to take away third from Custer, really using him up, forcing Custer to have to lift there. Custer in the wall, he turns Creed. He turns Creed after getting forced against the wall, and they're stacking up again on the front stretch. The leader got to the white flag. The race is over. Caution flag is out. Herbst has more damage. Brandon Jones just clipped the 00, and John Hunter Nemechek is going to win at New Hampshire. Chandler Smith is going to end up second. I think Austin Hill third. And then I don't even know after that, because right now it's scoring Daniel Hemrick fourth. We're going to have to wait on how the finishing results will finish up. We do know that John Hunter Nemechek is the race winner. And that was all Sheldon. He used Custer up. Like halfway through the corner, he was trying to force him to lift, and he just put him in the wall off the exit of the corner, ended up turning himself. Creed plus 26 points coming into the day as well. And with the problems to Herbst and Kligerman behind him in the standings, he was probably going to walk out of here plus 40 points or more ahead of the cutoff line. Now he wrecks, and he's not going to end up gaining the points it looked like he was going to gain. That was just it was a dumb mistake by Creed on a bunch of different occasions. It did look like Custer may have kept it off the wall, but there's definitely contact. And the 00 got loose off the exit of turn 4 following the contact from Creed. That was still on Creed. I mean, he used him up all the way through the corner. And poor Josh Williams, who was caught up in that as well behind them, ran top 10 the entire final stage and unfortunately gets taken out. Kind of the underdog at the front of the field of the smaller teams that was in the top 10. Got ran into from behind by Herbst. He was checking up because obviously he saw the 00 spinning down the track in front of him. And that's where Herbst got all the damage to the front of his car. I guess if there's a silver lining there for Creed is that Herbst got caught up in that incident again too. That was all on Sheldon Creed there. Custer wrecked Creed. It did look like he was like really sideways off of turn 2 though, Custer. I don't know that he intentionally turned down the track because of how sideways he was, because they were still coming up off the corner. It wasn't like they were already on the straightaway when he had made contact. Creed kind of made contact in the center of the corner with him, and I kind of think Custer got loose and then turned Creed. And I would not be surprised that as he was loose making contact with Creed that he just stayed in the gas and turned him at that point, but I don't think he pulled out of line and wrecked him. To me, I didn't see that. He was pretty sideways off of turn 4. And I think he got loose after they made contact in the center of the corner when Creed slid up into him. A little burnout by John Hunter Nemechek on the front stretch right now. You'll get to hear from him and some of the other top finishers of the race. Maybe some fireworks with Creed and Custer there afterwards. I don't think Creed's been in a fight before. I think Custer has. Yeah, Custer was in that fight at Canadian Tire back in the Truck Series one year. I think it was with Nemechek, wasn't it? Like Custer won the race and he was going to take the checkered flag. He just sprinted and speared him in the grass when he was going to get the checkered flag. It might have been the other way around. I think it was both of them, though. Coincidentally, John Hunter Nemechek wins this race after Creed gets in an incident with somebody else. Or Custer gets in an incident with Creed there, just behind him. Here's your race winner, John Hunter Nemechek, for the second straight week. Second straight week, I predicted the Xfinity winner, correct, too?
The 199th win for Joe Gibbs Racing. Getting close to that magic number 200. Dave?
And now John Hunter, after giving the folks in the grandstands a nice look at the winning smile underneath the helmet, we'll get a look at the winning smile without the helmet on. and a dominating performance. He said it to his crew as he was coming around in the cool-down laps. 137 laps led today. I believe that was somewhat of a statement to the rest of the teams.
Yeah, it definitely was. Man, I am so proud of this whole 20 team, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing. Just thankful for the opportunity. Thank you, Jack Irving, Tyler Gibbs, David Wilson, so many people at Toyota, the whole Gibbs family. Joe Gibbs, wish Coy was here to celebrate with us. He was a huge advocate for this to happen this year, and can't thank him enough. But man, Persil Pro Clean, this thing looked clean on the racetrack today. Had, I think, our first clean race all year, so that's really good. But hats off to all of our guys, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing. Our Toyota GR Supra was as fast as Xfinity 10G, that is for sure. So happy birthday, Mitch. Happy birthday, Brian Gainey. Hopefully we can celebrate their birthdays. And Taylor and Aspen are here. They're home. So hi, Aspen. Hi, Tay. We'll celebrate when we get home. And huge shout out to all of the fans for being here. This is an amazing crowd. I love coming up here. And then one more huge shout out to another driver. He knows who he is. We've been texting quite a bit this weekend, and he's one of the masters here. He may be on the pole for tomorrow, so good luck.
So, given that, you had late race restarts that were very, very good, but you didn't need them. You had a huge lead, and then you had to survive those last restarts.
Yeah, we definitely did. I was a little worried there on the last restarts. We kept getting really good launches, and we were able to clear them, but I didn't know who was saving what. I was trying to save in front of Cole until he started pushing there. He definitely was going to give us a run for our money, but hats off to all the men and women at Joe Gibbs Racing, everyone at Toyota TRD, and just blessed to have this opportunity. I'm the lucky guy that gets to sit behind the wheel of this 20 car every weekend.
And you can say Seabell's name. He helped you out.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, Christopher Bell helping out John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek with the victory today. And what about tomorrow? We shall see. Another 20 car, Rick?
Could be the 20. It could be a sweep of 20s.
All right, so we'll go through the unofficial results. Again, the caution came out on the final lap, so still having to wait to see where everybody finishes in this one. I know Josh Williams had a lot of damage because he got turned into the inside wall. He scored an 8th here, so I don't know how NASCAR is going to score this exactly. But again, these are unofficial results. I think the only thing that is official is the top 3, I could pretty much guarantee. Maybe the top 4, but everything after that I have no clue. John Hunter Nemechek does get the race win, his 4th of the Xfinity Series season, back-to-back, of course, as mentioned already. Chandler Smith ends up finishing in 2nd, Austin Hill 3rd, Daniel Hemrick 4th, and after this, I have no clue. I think Sammy Smith probably did end up 5th, but I don't want to guarantee that. Again, these are unofficial results. It depends on where they were running at the time of the caution, on who was involved in the incident, who wasn't. But as of right now, Hemrick scored 4th, Sammy Smith scored 5th, Justin Allgaier 6th, Jeb Burton 7th, good day for him. If Josh Williams holds up with an 8th place run, he had a solid day as well. In 8th, Brett Moffitt 9th, and Patrick Emerly might have snuck through the top 10 and 30 in the 35 car today. Mason Massey in 11th in his 3rd start of the season. Austin Dillon 12th, Kaz Gralla 13th, Alex LeBay 14th, Josh Berry 15th, Sam Mayer in 16th, Ryan Ellis 17th, Brandon Jones 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, Riley Herbst in 20th, Sheldon Creed 21st, Cole Custer scored 22nd. Kyle Sieg was the first car lap down, so he'll end up 23rd. Brendan Poole, 24th. Blaine Perkins, 25th. 26th, Connor Mosack. Kyle Weatherman, 27th. CJ McLaughlin ends up 28th. Joe Graff Jr., 29th. Chris Hacker, 30th. Parker Retzlaff, 31st. Parker Kligerman, 32nd. Ryan Sieg, 33rd. Anthony Alfredo, 34th. Chad Fincham, 35th. Stephen Parsons, 36th. Roger Crute, 37th. And Greg Van Alst, 38th. Playoff cut line. Exiting this race, Riley Herbst plus 16, Parker Kligerman plus 16, Sheldon Creed plus 46, Sam Mayer plus 65, and Daniel Hemrick plus 71. Those are the drivers just above the cutoff line. Brett Moffitt minus 40, Brandon Jones minus 65, so you get 16 points of the cutoff line today. Josh Berry plus 107 as well, over a full race worth of points ahead as well. But yeah, Creed, if he didn't cause that accident, he could have ended up third or 4th. Because he was battling for 3rd with Custer, so he lost 17 to 18 points there. He's plus 46. He could be like plus 60. And that is not the case. Chandler Smith receiving some medical attention outside of his race car. Hot day, of course, in New Hampshire. Seemed to have been suffering from the heat there as he gets out of his race car, so they are cooling him off currently. Some heat exhaustion. 10 cautions in the race in total then, with that caution on the final lap. And again, 137 laps led for race winner John Hunter Nemechek, by far the most of anybody in the field. Led 110 more laps than the next closest driver to him, which was Allgaier, who led 27. Allgaier won stage 1. Sammy Smith did win stage 2, leading 18 laps today as well. In total, we had 7 different drivers lead a lap, a lot of those during green flag pit stops in that final stage, though. And, of course, most of the lead changes came in those first, really, 10 to 15 laps of the race, in that battle between the 7 and the 20 as they went back and forth a couple times. And, of course, 16 qualifying on the pole. From the pole, he led 10 laps today. And with those 7 different leaders, we ended up having 16 lead changes with them. 2 hours, 38 minutes, 38 seconds total time on the race today. 6 laps past the scheduled distance. So we ended up going 206 out of what was scheduled to be 200 laps in the Ambetter Health 200. Average race speed, 83.12 miles per hour. Here is Kim Kuhn with Daniel Hemrick.
Just making speed. We never really quite got this campers in RV Camaro fastest Xfinity 10G internet today, but we continued to grind. Our last green flag stop there, I felt like it was the right adjustment, but we lost a lot of time on pit road. And I felt like it was the best race car I'd had the entire last stint before those late yellows, and try to tap back in some of the Cup experience from years past of old tire restarts there. That bottom lane is treacherous trying to get going, and luckily tapped back into some of that stuff. Felt like helped us move forward 8 or 10 spots there the last 2 restarts. So disappointed with the lack of speed we had, but proud of this group for not giving up, and appreciate back Holly, Chris Rice, everyone on this team for the effort, and carry on next week.
That team grind and that driver experience helping Daniel Hemrick with a top 5 finish here at New Hampshire.
Well, Kim, when I talked to Andy Street, the crew chief for Austin Hill this morning, he said a top 5 would be like a win for us. This is not our best racetrack, but it winds up being a top 3. How crazy were those final few restarts?
Yeah, it was really crazy out there. Everybody's fighting really hard for position. You can see guys getting a little desperate there, where somebody would get on the inside and they're trying to clear on exit and they wouldn't be quite clear, and you're hoping that guy lifts a little bit, but when it comes down to the end of these restarts and stuff, that just doesn't happen. And then you also have guys on the inside lane. They're trying to push that inside lane, and they're not doing anything, overly aggressive. They're just trying to push their lane along, and next thing you know, it stacks up and it gets somebody in the left rear and they spin out. So a lot of that was happening today. Kind of a game of attrition for us. We were kind of that 8th to 10th place car all day, but everybody at RCR and ECR fought really hard. Our Bennett Chevrolet wasn't the greatest, but we prevailed and fought for a top 3 here. So we're still trying to think of big picture, trying to get the regular season championship under wraps. But it's been tough. The 20's been fast these last few weeks, so we got to gain a little bit more points on them here going forward.
Speaking of that big picture, Andy was telling me this morning that he felt like this short track package, you guys need to pick up a little bit, especially for Phoenix. If you are in that championship four, do you feel like you learned some things today to help that out?
Yeah, I thought we learned a little bit. We've been trying a lot of different things with rear springs and stuff like that, and we found some areas that it helped us. We were really good all day today on entry all the way to the center, but it didn't really help our center exit. So if we can just kind of piece that all together, I think we could have a really good package going into Phoenix if we make it there.
So, Rick, to Austin's point, anytime you have what he feels like was an 8th to 10th place car and you wind up finishing 3rd with it, that's a pretty good day.
That's a positive. 3rd place finish for Austin Hill. Nemechek, the first.
All right, that is going to wrap up today's Ambetter Health 200 live commentary coverage. Flag to flag. We'll have more flag to flag coverage of tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race, the Crayon 301. Our coverage will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is inclement weather and rain that is on the way to Loudon later tonight all the way through tomorrow. So if there is official word that they have postponed the race to Monday before our scheduled 2 p.m. start time tomorrow, I'll put up in the community tab a post saying what time the stream will start on Monday if they do move the race to Monday. If they don't, though, make a call at least before our scheduled start time of the stream. We will be going live at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon for our pre-race coverage. Expect us to go live about a half hour, 45 minutes early on Monday, depending on whenever the start time for the race would be on Monday, if that does happen. Appreciate it, everybody. Had fun today, as usual. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Didn't quite get to our goal of 100 likes on the stream. We're about 14 away there, so try to hit that like button on your way out if you haven't done so yet. And I will see you guys tomorrow, if not on Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Saturday night.